Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexi Yachts here. Saturday morning, the Raptors routed the Detroit Pistons last night in a very good to see game, a game that they handled quite easily. No problems, no stress on this game at all. Just taking care of business, getting another W added to the win column for the Raptors. So we now have 36 wins. If we can get 5 more, we're a 500 team. If we can get 6 more, we can be above 500 team. Getting 5 may be more realistic, but we do have what is it? We have like 6 games left. No, we have 7 games left. 7 games left. So we can get 5. We can get to 500. So we got to win. We can only lose 2 more. Yeah, good win. And then 905 losing by 2 to Greensboro Swarm in a game that means nothing. In fact, the 905 are playing today at 3:30. You guys can watch them on NBA TV and on YouTube today. 3:30, the last game of the season for the Raptors 905 versus the Greensboro Swarm. Since I'm talking about it already, I might as well get all the 905 stuff out of the way right now. Yeah, they lost last night by 2 points. They had the lead at different times during the game. They looked pretty good for a lot of the game, but in the very end, Greensboro jumped up and beat them at the very end. They actually had a good 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, but that got ate up by Greensboro, and they overtook them in the end by 2 points. There was a shot by Gabe Brown at the end of the game that if it had gone in, they would have won the game, but he missed it. It was at the top of the key. It wasn't a very good look. It kind of was a weird half chuck with one hand with a guy kind of hanging on him. So it wasn't the best shot. My 3 stars for the game are Ron Harper Jr. once again having a really strong game. 9 of 19, 3 of 8 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, 29 points, and a +6. Ron's my first star of the game for last night for them. Kyler Kelly, a double-double in the starting lineup. He had his career highs, 20 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block, 8 of 12 from the field. Just a great job by that young center, Kyler Kelly. And then the third star is our second-round pick, right after Delano Banton a couple years ago, David Johnson. 9 of 18 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 22 points for David Johnson. It was a tough game, and it's too bad that they lost again, but it is what it is. I was wrong. I thought it would be a Ryan Hawkins show, but it definitely wasn't. He was 0 for 5 and had a goose egg for the night. Gabe Brown, 6 of 13, 4 of 10 from 3, 20 points with 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. Daryl Morsell was the other starter, 7 of 16 from the field, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 18 points. And then off the bench, the Canadian guy, McEwen, got in there and got 5 points. And Williams also with 2 points in there. So, yeah, it's too bad. They're going to play them again today at 3:30. And hopefully they can win this last game against Jalen Sims and the Greensboro Swarm today and end the season on a good note. The referees for today's game in Greensboro are, we have Canada's referee, Matt Callio, as the crew chief for the 905 game today. Agana Bazi is the referee, and Klaja Mula is the umpire. We know Matt Callio. He's from Edmonton. He now lives in Calgary, apparently. He's in his second year as a ref. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. He likes that movie with with Russell Crowe and Matt Damon or something like that? Or who's in that movie? I try to figure out who's in that movie. He's like a janitor, and he does like math problems. I don't know. It's Goodwill Hunting. I really went about that the whole wrong way. And then his favorite musician, Matt Callio's favorite musician, is the guy who would sing "In the Sunshine of Your Love." He also sang this song for that Tom Cruise movie with Paul Newman. It was a sequel. It's in the way that you use it. Boy, don't you know? He likes Eric Clapton. That's right. Yeah, that's Matt Callio's favorite musician. His favorite book is The Giver. His favorite app is TripIt. He'd most like to visit Portugal, and his bucket list is to go on a Norwegian cruise. He likes steak and asparagus. for his meals. So there's your crew chief for the 905 game against the Swarm today. 3:30 tip off. So check it out. Afternoon hoops with the 905 today. So there's your 905. They're out. They're not going to, they're done after today for the year and stuff like that. So that's about as much 905 you're going to get from me now going forward till next year. Let's see. Nameless is here first. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Nameless is saying winning is a part of development. Nick Nurse said, I think we can put the idea of a stealth tank to bed. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Nick, after the game, talking about after the Detroit win last night, that he has found in his experience in the G League, the D League, in the lower league, as he put it, that winning does matter. And even in that level, even if it's a development league or something like that, that you can't, it's important to teach winning. And when you're in development, winning does matter. That you've got to show these guys how you got to get about to get the win. And in some ways, development doesn't happen as well when winning isn't happening. And that was kind of the point that Nick had last night after the game. Is like when winning's not happening, it's really hard to get good momentum with development. How about that? Yeah. Name was saying, I think in 2 years, Detroit has won like 36 basketball games. That is tough sledding, man. Yeah, I think that's about right. They had a very bad year last year, too. This trend of either Detroit or us sweeping the series for the year has continued. This has happened since Casey's last year here in Toronto. It's crazy. Casey swept the Detroit Pistons in his last season as the coach of our team, and then went to the Pistons and swept us in his first year as the Pistons coach. And then, there was a lot of back and forth. Like 1 year, they sweep us, we sweep them. There's been very much a lot of that. Well, this year we're sweeping them again this year, 4-0. Fantastic. Glad they got it done. But in a lot of cases, this Pistons team was never actually who they were supposed to be this year, specifically because of the absence of Cade Cunningham for most of the season. Yeah, it's great, and I love it. I'd much rather be sweeping them than them sweeping us like they did last year. Yeah. Monique is here. Good to see Superfan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Much needed bounce back. My 3 stars of the game, Pascal, Fred, and Chris. And bonus, Jeff. But honestly, lockdown efforts start to finish. New open gym episode today at 11 and hustle play. Yeah, we're getting a lot of good content today. And it seems to be centered around Mr. Boucher. We noticed yesterday there was a drop that Chris Boucher is interviewing Alvin Williams on the latest Hustle Play podcast. This is going to be fantastic, guys. In fact, in some ways, this is really, really cool. Of course, Alvin knows Mike Roach really well because Mike Roach is the guy who sits next to the announce crew during the game and is kind of like a media helper. I'm not sure exactly what he does. I'm sure he does producer work or helping in direction for them, or maybe stat checking or some sort of stuff. But he's like the guy sitting next to the announcers at the game. You'll notice Mike Roach there. So he talks to Alvin all the time. And I just kind of like this idea of Alvin being on this format with Chris, because in some ways I saw that little clip that they showed already. We will talk about what they talk about on there today. But first, I want to talk about the whole idea of different generations of Raptors on the Hustle Play podcast and talking about the differences between generations and things that they have to deal with, and specifically social media. That, Chris is so honest and so out there and so open with things about his life and who he is and what's going on with him. He's what you see is what you get with Chris Boucher. And I really appreciate him. In fact, in some ways, this Hustle Play podcast is going to come out in the next couple of days, is very much going to illuminate a very serious problem in the NBA, and something that the NBA needs to consider and think about way, way more. The whole talk about mental health that is spurred on by DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love, and players being very courageous and talking about a subject that most people don't like talking about in sports historically, because you're just supposed to be tough and suck it up. Well, Chris really illuminates an ugly, seedy side of fan nations, or not even fan nations. I can't call them fan nations. I just say, like I said, we have a Raptors nation. And some of the people in this nation are fans that cheer for the team and are passionate like we are. And some of the people that are in the nation or just around sports are actually people that they just bet on sports. So they don't care about anything else. It used to be fantasy basketball would be the thing that would get people upset about their players. Oh man, if you just done this, I would have scored this. I would have won my fantasy league. Well, now it's if you just didn't done this or done this, I would have won $1,000. So now people have more skin in the game. They're acting more out of pocket and being really ugly. Honestly, you could take a very serious problem with gambling addiction and depending on these guys to make money for you. You're fucking sick fuck. And then if you add on to that you're a racist piece of shit and you're going to send a message to Chris Boucher after a game because he didn't score 10 points to help you win your fucking dumbass betting slip. Fuck you, motherfucker. It sent Chris Boucher a message that you sent. I'm not even going to repeat what he said to him because it's ugly and it's wrong and it shouldn't be propagated. You guys can watch the Chris Boucher clip with Alvin Williams and see the ugliness that was said to him. That's disgusting. And it made me feel icky. It made me feel icky that there are people out there that are doing this to guys on our team like this. And it makes me so fucking mad. In fact, it makes me want more than ever to do this channel in a positive way, fighting toxic ass, stupid, fucked up people like that, because it just pisses me off to no end. I mean, what year are we in? We're in 2023, and there's some motherfucker texting Chris Boucher a message like that after a fucking game. It just makes me so goddamn angry. If I could fucking find out who the fuck sent Chris Boucher that fucking message, I'd go take care of things personally for this shit, because this shit pisses me off. This is not right. And this is messed up. And who in their twisted fucking mind think it's okay to send somebody a message like that in that kind of situation? Either you're an immature idiot, you're fucking clueless fuck, a racist piece of shit, and a gambling degenerate is what you are. And you know what? I hate this. And no wonder. We may have gotten a very small period of a golden era where the fans and the players could interact because there was innocence. The last summer with Scotty on Twitch, his connectivity to us was so awesome and was so refreshing, and something that I don't know if we'll ever get again in some ways with players, because the fans fucked it up, because the fans are fucking toxic, because the fans are full of shit and they send stupid ass messages. And I hate this so much. If you don't understand why I'm so angry about this, you need to watch this clip between Alvin and Chris and Mike Roach, the preview clip for the new hustle play coming out. It will make you angry. It will disgust you. The human beings, how they are, and how fucking horrible this person that sent this message was to Chris Boucher. It makes me so mad. And Alvin said, he's like, look, I lived in a different era. There wasn't social media. There wasn't platforms like Instagram and Twitter where people can message you directly. And, in some ways, if I was these guys, I wouldn't have some of this stuff. I totally get it. Why professional sports athletes should not have social media accounts, because there's a lot of fucking awful people out there that say stupid ass shit. And it really, really makes me mad what I found out about that. Now, there's an open gym that's dropping in about an hour from now with Chris Boucher as the subject. Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to that also. But yeah, lots of good stuff. And Chris was fantastic last night in the game. In fact, let's look at Monique's 3 stars here. Pascal, Fred, and Chris. I think that's about who I picked also. Yeah, my 3 stars of the game. Pascal Siakam, number 1 star of the game. 12 of 19 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 6 of 10 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 32 points, a plus 26. Siakam, and unlike the game against Indiana, got going right away and didn't let off the gas. He was consistently good throughout the whole entire game and just fantastic. We appreciate you, Pascal, doing what you do. You had a great game last night. Second star of the game, I'm going to pick Chris off the bench. Because listen, there's a couple things that happened with Chris last night, guys. I don't know if you guys know. 7 of 14 from the field, a great 50% shooting. 2 of 5 from 3, so he got 2 threes also. 3 of 3 from the free throw line. 6 offensive rebounds for Christopher last night. 13 rebounds altogether. 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, a plus 4 with 19 points. Now, Chris got a double-double last night. And this is his 32nd double-double in his career as a Toronto Raptor. And he now leads all Toronto Raptors in the history of the NBA with double doubles off the bench. So you go, Chris Boucher. You are the Toronto Raptors leader in franchise history for double doubles off the bench. Yeah, I love hearing that. And then, of course, Freddie. I know actually Freddie's not my third star, Monique. You can have Freddie for your third star. My third star is actually OG last night. 7 of 11 from the field, 3 of 4 from three, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 17 points, a plus 16. OG Anunoby, just a solid, efficient game. I would pick Fred, but he missed a lot of shots. But you can have Fred for yours. 5 for 16, 3 of 10 from 3, 5 of 5 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, plus 19 with 18 points for Freddie. But yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those. But my guys were actually Siakam, Boucher, and Anunoby as my 3 stars. But yeah, good game. And Jeff was very good also. In fact, Nick had nice things to say about Jeffrey. 3 of 7, 1 of 2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, a plus 10 with 9 points. Jeffrey got a half hour's work last night, and I was glad to see that. Will Barton was okay. He was much better this game than he's played ever for the Raptors until last night, but still wasn't like super, super great. And by the end of the game, Dowtin had more minutes than Will Barton. And I think that's telling. I honestly do think that is telling and very interesting. Nameless is saying, I don't want that kind of losing experience around our team. It's hard to stop losing and to shake that culture. Yeah. Rookie Jaden Ivey after the game was very frustrated. He talked a lot about how this is not acceptable to him, that the team needs to play harder and play better and compete better. And he's mad that he didn't really like how the Pistons' effort was. And this is a team that's very much in the Wemby sweepstakes and has been losing somewhat on purpose for most of the season. Well, he's still at the end of the season. This rookie doesn't like this, and he's upset and he's frustrated. Now, he's not turning on Coach Casey. In fact, he said Coach Casey's done a really good job keeping us together and keeping us motivated, even with all the losing this season. But this is what I'm saying. This kid had his rookie year this year, and he's only going to win less. He's going to win less than 20 games probably this season. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to go through. And that's a hard way to learn and develop in this league, because in some ways you don't develop if you're not winning. And I think that's the theme for today. You don't develop to a degree if you're not winning in some ways. Yeah. I wouldn't want this on us, our fan nation, or for the team or anybody else around the Raptors nation for sure. G saying, how many lottery picks does Detroit have? Are you saying on the team right now currently playing, or like upcoming in the drafts? That's the thing. That's what we're saying these days. There's a lot of talk these days about age and vets and, having young players and all this kind of stuff. Like, in fact, one of the conversations about Jeff Dowtin being 26, and there's certain Raptors nation thinking that he's not worth it because he's already too old. This is stupid. In fact, there's a couple people coming out and talking about this very loudly. Alvin Williams, CJ Miles, in particular, these 2 older Raptors are saying, look, you guys are idiots. I really think there's a really dumb part of Raptors Nation that really isn't like very smart. And they have really dumb ideas about what makes a team good. And they think that it's a lot of young draft picks. And it's really, really dumb. Like, it's one of the dumbest fucking things that I don't understand these people. Like, you really obviously have never really watched basketball for longer than since they won the championship, because you don't understand basketball. That age doesn't matter as much as y'all think. And anybody who's hung up on Jeffrey Dowtin being 26, you're a fucking idiot. You really are, seriously. And that a lot of this is so dumb. Like, the ageism that's been shown towards Thad this year has been stupid and like totally unnecessary. And like the whole idea of like you want your whole team to be very young. And then some people are arguing that the core of our team is mismatched because there's the young guys with Scotty and all them. And then there's like Pascal and the older guys that they can't work together on a team. Yeah, you all are fucking idiots, because you can have different age cohorts on the same team working at the same time and doing things together. What do you fucking think? This is a magic world where you just get 15 guys that are all the same age and they all come up together and they all grow right at the same time, all on the same schedule? Yeah, I'm really like mystified at the idiocy and dumbassery of some of the Raptors nation with their logic about why they like things or they want things and they don't want things. Yeah, some people need to just not be talking, because y'all really don't have a basis of understanding roster building and what you need on a team to win. In fact, most of the teams that win championships have a high number of 30-year-olds on their team. I don't know if you've noticed that, people, that, teams like Oklahoma City, they can look real good. SGA can be a badass, and you could thirst for him to be in a Raptors jersey, but they have no chance to win a championship because they have no experience. They have no veterans. And the teams that have veterans are the ones that will have legs and get far in the playoffs. The teams like Golden State and Boston and Miami and teams like that. So, yeah, you go ahead and find the folly of youth. And the funny thing is that y'all want the youth, but you also want everything now. Well, that's not how it works. You either want it now or you want the youth. If you want it now, you need to get more vets. If you want it with the youth, you're going to have to be patient then, motherfucker. So it's like you're not going to get what you want, you crazy ass fans that just you have really weird, unrealistic expectations. It's really, really crazy. But yeah, I don't even know how many picks they have or what they're doing with that team. You can see, look, you can have all these lottery picks on this team. They're young. Okay, you got Corey Joseph. You got a couple of vets, but still, it's not adding up to winning. And these guys really don't have a lot of experience on this team. That Pistons team was so young last night. So young. And that's part of the reason why they got their ass kicked. Monique is saying, congratulations, Kyler Kelly, on his career night. Heck, even Ron, so much post-game interviews were 100%. I didn't see the post-game interviews from them. Are they posted? I have a hard time finding the 905 after-game interviews for some reason. They don't post them at a very good time. Maybe they posted really late last night. I don't know. I haven't seen them. But yeah, time is running out. One more game today, 3:30, Raptors 905. Check it out while you can, Raptors Nation. Jimmy Pope saying, much needed beatdown of Detroit. Love seeing Pascal hungry from the start. Yeah, he had a good, solid game the whole way through. I had Adriana and Nako the Nacho over here watching the game with me. We were having a good time, having a blast. And I didn't pay as closely attention to the game as I should have in some ways, partly because we were hanging out. And normally I pay really close attention when I'm by myself. But in some ways, I was entertaining last night. And it kind of distracts me from, and we were winning. We had the game in hand. I can look at the box score. I remember big plays like Chris's dunk and different goofy stuff that happened in the game. But for the most part, there may be a little bit of stuff I missed just because we were eating, we were doing other stuff, we're talking, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it was a good game, fantastic game. It must win for sure. And if we had lost, it would have been really bad, really, really bad if we lost last night. Dana's here. Good to see Dana with the Canada symbol. I love it. My TV says this live starts at 1:30. My phone says 9:30. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I'm glad you found us and you're here either way. It is 9:30 a.m. every day. I don't know. Maybe you have your time zone on your TV different. I don't know. That's very strange and interesting. But you're here and everything's good. Hopefully you can come and join us on other days too. We start every day 9:30 a.m. Tomorrow we'll have a preview for the Washington Wizards game. So I'll be here tomorrow with the referee report and the injury update for that game tomorrow. But good to see a new name. And hi, nice to meet you. Please write more questions or whatever. We just interact this morning. We talk about the game from the night before. Let's see. Monique is saying, superfan Monique Lawrence, her comment is, the sweep will forever be nice. I want to give a shout out to Amit Man for discussing Jeff Dowtin and what we were all saying about him. We get no GTJ, but the fact that Jeff's getting some burn finally. Yeah, I like that little clip that you posted yesterday, Monique. Thank you. That little bit of CJ Miles podcast with Amit Man, talking about Jeff Dowtin Jr. and talking about this age thing that I'm talking about right now. That CJ is like, what does it matter if the guy can shoot? Who cares how old he is? It's like he would tell you himself. Like, he just turned like 36 or 37 himself. He had his birthday in the last 2 weeks. And he just because he's older and he's not in the league anymore doesn't mean that CJ Miles can't shoot anymore. In fact, if you got him on a basketball court right now, he could drain shots left and right. Now, maybe the body can't get up and down the court as quickly, and maybe he's not as quick as he was as far as like keeping up and guarding with people. But that shooting skill doesn't go away, and he finds it so mystifying that people have a problem with Jeffrey's age being 26. It's stupid. It's really, really dumb. It is so, so dumb. But I appreciate you sharing that clip. And yeah, I really love that new podcast this year that's come around with CJ Miles and Ahmed. It has been another fantastic kind of Raptors oriented content that has been very, very informational as far as like CJ's views as a former sharpshooter in the league and what he knows from being a player, and him really letting us know the reality of all that. It was really valuable earlier this season when Fred's shot was struggling. He could break it down with the mechanics and exactly what he was doing with his form and what was not working with it. Found that so invaluable, so intriguing, and so exciting to hear from a player's mouth the exact breakdown of what was wrong with Fred's shot in November. Really, really good content. Nameless is saying, welcome, Dana. It starts every morning at 9:30 a.m. Buongiorno from our Italian teacher, Mr. Nameless. Yes. Mo's saying, convert Jeff already. I think that Mo is in the chorus with Aaron Rose saying, why have we not converted Jeff Dowtin Jr. to a full contract so we can have him available for us in the play-in? This just makes a lot of sense. And in fact, that the evidence may be mounting for this to happen, Monique, but I don't know if they will. Once again, we'll have to check with Logical Raptors Fanatic and see if this makes any sense at this point. We keep looking at it and we're saying, no, this doesn't make sense. It'll make you go into the luxury tax. It'll make you cut a player. In some ways, it's like it doesn't make sense. Well, they asked Nick last night, Doug Smith from the Toronto Star, well, you're going to have to make a decision with Jeff in the next 10 days, Nick. And Nick Nurse said, yes, we are, Doug. Yes, we are. And we're very happy with what Jeff's done this season. So these are good things to hear as far as like what their plans are for the future with Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. I'm pretty sure we're going to try and retain him at all costs and continue to keep him in our organization for next year, even if we don't convert him and bring him in for our playoff run this year. I have a feeling that, Jeffrey, he's going to get an invite to our training camp next year and get a chance to win a straight up roster spot on our team for next season. And I think that he's got a really good shot, honestly, because in some ways he's already shown that he can fit seamlessly into our system and play very sound, consistent, good play, where he's actually contributing in all kinds of ways. Nick talked about his shot being very steady this year. He really likes his defense. He thinks he's a great defensive player and that he's been very useful for on-ball defensive stuff on guards that he really, in some ways, we lack, and we don't have a whole lot on our team. So Jeffrey is pretty, I think he's pretty much, they've nodded that he's going to be a part of our future. If we can make it happen, for sure, we will. So I'm not worried about that. Nako's here. Good to see Nako. Last night, hanging out with Gerald was fun. It was just good to see him and hang out with him and Adrian and have a little mini party for the Detroit game last night. Let's see. Nako's saying that his best players were Pascal, OG, and Chris also. Yeah. I just feel like Chris was just so good consistently throughout the whole game, hitting threes, getting blocks, getting offensive rebounds and putbacks, just getting up and down the court and getting some transition dunks also. Christopher, you're a badass. We love you. Not only do we love you on the court for what you did last night, but just for, like I said, being such an honest and upfront person. You don't have to share these kind of details because in some ways, I hate to say it, there's some ugly people out there that will hear what you said and they'll think, yeah, I want to attack Chris Boucher. That sounds fun. Instead of thinking how heinous and fucked up that whole situation was there. Yeah, I just hate this because in some ways this makes sense. Why Scotty Barnes wouldn't want to get on Twitch at this point. Why Chris Boucher barely gets on there anymore, too. Delano Bant hasn't done that. Guys recede in their social media interaction with the fans because the fans, some of them are just absolute pieces of shit. And I hate that. I hate that so much. But, in some ways, I want to start this thing where we really characterize people for what they are, for what their intentions are with the team. If you're like us and you love the team and you just want to see them win championships and do well and win and root on our guys like a normal fan would, like most of us are, then you're a fan. But if you're somebody who watches basketball because you bet money and you have some sort of interest personally, and you don't really care about the team or them as human beings, even, or even acknowledge that they're human beings, and you want to message them like they're like objects or pieces of trash. Yeah, you are a fucking piece of shit. And I really want the fans to be fans, and these are not fans. In fact, we can call them betters. We can call them degenerates. I don't care what you want to call them, but sports gambling is going to be bringing more of this assholery out in some people in Raptors Nation. I hate it. I hate it so much. The betting is so toxic. The betting is so toxic for so many different reasons. There's a reason why this stuff was not involved in the NBA for so long. And David Stern, in some ways, is probably rolling his grave right now, understanding that Adam Silver has opened up betting and gambling in the NBA. I'll bet you money that David Stern would not agree with this decision, and he would be very angry that the NBA has turned to this point where they are allowing openly legal gambling on the NBA games. Because in some ways it's not having good effects on the league in a lot of different ways. In a lot of different ways. In fact, some people have linked the parity and the evenness of all the teams in the rankings and the standings partly because of the gambling. That this whole new parity in the league is actually an effect from the gambling being involved. That that you want the teams to be very more even. In some ways, it was hard to gamble on the NBA because there was always usually a favored team, a much more favored team, and an underdog team, and it would be easy to gamble on the NBA at certain eras because it's like you got the Chicago Bulls, they're 72-10, and they're playing a bunch of teams. Yeah, you could get easy money that way. Well, in some ways, the gambling sites want the league to be more even and not have so easy, clear-cut favorites. Then they want it to be parity and have this weird ass everybody's around 500 with their record. So I wonder, is this gambling uptick around the NBA partly the reason why the NBA records and where the teams are in the standings and how they're all clumped together, partly a byproduct of all that? I wonder about that. I really do. They seem to coincide with each other very closely. And in some ways, it makes me really question, what the fuck are you doing, NBA? You're going to destroy yourself. Seriously, between the refs and the betting, there's some really bad stuff that y'all are heading towards in the direction of what's going on with this league. And I'm really scared because it could be that the league destroys itself because of corruption, because of really bad decisions for allowing legal gambling to be around the league. And I don't like it. Let's see. Nameless saying he looked great, didn't he, Mo? I thought Koloko had a fantastic game as well. He may have been the best rim protector we have on the team. He's definitely a great shot blocker, but I don't know if he's necessarily the best rim protector, so to speak. As I said, Koloko will have a really nice block. He had 4 of them last night. In fact, probably had more. He got called for a few fouls too that were absolutely blocks. But he's getting his rookie tax. He definitely was getting calls against him, partly because he's just a rookie. And in some ways, if they unleashed him and let him get all the blocks he could possibly get, this man would run away with blocks leader of the whole entire league. And in some ways, that's why they don't count every one of them as a block. They want to get him on fouls too, because it takes away the blocks. No, I thought he was great. And he does get some really good defensive plays. But for every defensive play he usually has like 1 or 2 really bad miscues or bad plays because of inexperience. Pascal was fair with him last night. In fact, he wasn't glowing about Koloko. He said he's playing good, but he still needs to figure things out and make smarter decisions in certain situations. It's basically what Siakam said. And that's for sure true. I love the blocks. They're flashy. Of course, they look really good. But if he can't play every single time down the court in a way that keeps the other team away from his getting behind him and dunking it behind him, so that's part of the problem. He gets tricked too often and out of position. And that's the problem with him right now, that he can be good in certain ways. In fact, it looked really good with him and Chris out there once again. They're like a crazy, tall, skinny guys that nobody can shoot over these 2 guys when they're near you and they're standing like this. That's part of what we were seeing. And Chris was getting blocks too with him. And I love that pairing like that. That's awesome. But as Siakam said, this is what they need to do with Chris Jun Christian Koloko is that they need to get him to use his length and not go after the ball every time. That one of the problems is, in fact, is he shouldn't be going for the home run block every single time on defense. He needs to worry about positioning, staying between the guy he's trying to guard and the basket, and just use his length. That's what Siakam said. Just make himself long, make himself take space, and that'll be enough to agitate them. And that sometimes when he goes for the block, he'll block it, sure, but somebody else on the team will get it behind him, and he's out of position after that, and they get the score anyway. So that's what he's saying. He's saying, don't leap at every single one, Christian. Don't go for the ball on every single play. I know you want that home run block, but sometimes the smarter decision on defense is to just use your length and just agitate them, and they'll miss anyway. So they're trying to teach them that, apparently. That's what Siakam said. Let's see. Monique's saying, let's leapfrog the Hawks. We can do it. Standings watch. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's check out the standings. Since Monique has brought it up, we are only a half game behind the Atlanta Hawks. And tonight, the Atlanta Hawks will be facing the Indiana Pacers, who once again, Indiana has been up and down. They beat us, but they lost their game since. They lost their game last night. But they're going to play the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta tonight. Hopefully the Pacers can show up and have some of that Canadian pride again and beat the Hawks and help out the Raptors by putting us tied. We still won't be above them if we tie our records. We will have to beat them outright because we lost the season series. So we have to get above them to get into the 8th seed and play the Brooklyn Nets in the higher part of the play-in. But it's looking pretty good. Listen, I don't know what the Hawks schedule looks like exactly, but hopefully we can find a way to get up and over. Now, there's an interesting game tonight. The Brooklyn Nets are in Miami, and in some ways, they're playing that game to get back into the playoffs and push Miami back into play-in. So that's something that we might want to monitor tonight. And then, we got the two conference leading teams playing each other. Milwaukee Bucks are in Denver against the Nuggets tonight. That'll be a fun matchup. Philly is in Phoenix. So we'll have to see if the Sixers can make some ground up on getting back into the 2nd seed and overtaking Boston again. So, yeah, there's your standings watch as far as with what matters for us in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, go Indiana Pacers. Please, Andrew Nebard. You look so good the other night. You and Ben Mathurin, can you do something for us and go kick the Atlanta Hawks ass and Trae Young tonight? That would be a very good solid for us. We'd appreciate that. Evelyn's here. Good to see Granny Evelyn's in the house. Granny Evelyn, the drippest drip of the drip. She's got so much drip. The drip falls on all of us. That's right. She's the drippiest drip. Let's see. Good morning, fam. And Dana, welcome to the family. Yes, Granny Evelyn, welcoming Dana to the family, to the stream today. This is what we're all about. We're a family, baby. That's right. And that's our Granny Evelyn, swag master, Granny Evelyn. If you hang around with us long enough, Dana, and you come to one of our get-togethers, Granny will be bringing you some Raptor swag. Trust me. That is her love language, and she loves to show love to Raptor freaks. So hopefully you will get some swag down the road. Let's see. G saying, Dana, nice to see you here. I love everybody's being so welcoming this morning. This is fantastic. I love this. Good. You go, G. Original Raptor Freak G. Original Raptor Freak Trivia Champion. G. That's right. Jimmy Pope saying, we got 8 left, Lex. Okay, so there's 8 games left. 8 games. We got to get we got to get 5 to get 41. So we can only lose 3. We're in video game rules, Jimmy. We're in video game rules. What happens when you play Pac-Man? You get 3 men. Then you die. You're done. So we got 3 lives, and we're in a video game. We can only lose 3 more games. If we lose 4, well, we're not getting 41. So we got only 3 we can mess around with and lose. And these are tough games coming up. But Washington is definitely one we got to win tomorrow. Take them one by one. And the Wizards are next. We got to win this series with the Washington Wizards and get closer to 41 wins. Yeah, I love it. Thanks for clarifying, Jimmy. Fiercely saying, morning, fam. Explosive win. Explosive. Yeah, I guess there was some explosiveness to it. Let's keep the energy up for Washington. Not to belittle Detroit, but us losing would have been bad. Great game by Spicy, Dowtin, and Boucher. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't really think it's belittling them. They are honestly very successful this year in what they're trying to do. In fact, they have the best chances, I think, of getting the number 1 pick. They're absolutely the worst team in the league right now. I'm pretty sure. Aren't they by standings? Let me see. They are 16. Yeah, they are. They have the worst record in the league. So they have the most ping pong balls. And that, in some ways, that is successful. In some ways, they did the negative successful thing that everybody was kind of talking about at the beginning of the season. Oh, everybody's going to try and lose for a lot. Well, Detroit is winning that aspect of the season. So in some ways, maybe they will be a big winner because they end up getting the number one pick. I really hope it's going to be a Texas team that gets the number one pick. I'd much rather have Victor Wembanyama out in the Western Conference instead of the nearby Detroit Pistons. And when we have to play them and all the issues, and they get Kate Cunningham back next year, and then boom, they're upgraded with possibly a Victor. Yeah, we don't want to see that. So even though they have the worst record in the NBA, I'm hoping they don't get the first pick and that it goes to San Antonio ideally or the Houston Rockets. All right, yeah, I love the stuff by Spicy, Dowtin, and Boucher too. So this year, 3 stars a game. I really do like the Jeffrey's getting to play now, and it is kind of like, yeah, this makes total sense to need him for the postseason. What are we gonna do? That's a tough decision. We'll just have to see what they do. We trust in Masai. He'll make the right decision with Jeffrey Dowtin Jr. Let's see. Name was saying Dana came to the right place if she wants real Raptors content without media bias propagated from the league. Well, thank you, Nameless. That is a very good compliment to me because that is exactly kind of what I'm trying to do. I really do want to not we read between the lines and try and see what's really going on here, especially with the referees and some of the stuff that's been real fishy lately. Yeah, if you want the truth, as Nameless put it, we're more likely to talk about it here. Shere Khan's here. Good to see Shere Khan, a great Raptor freak. Good morning, Raptor freak family. This year's iteration of the Raptors is really confusing to me. They look so different from one game to the other, kind of inconsistent when it comes to perimeter D. And what are we going to do about that Dowtin? Yeah, yeah. We have been inconsistent on defense all year. And it's tough because Nick really wants that blanket defense. But in some ways, it makes sense that we've been inconsistent on defense because in some ways, our whole idea of success is predicated on all out effort and teamwork on defense, covering up for each other's mistakes. Well, how hard is it to keep up that kind of mentality and effort and teamwork when everything's falling apart because you're losing so much? In fact, in some ways, I find it really successful that the Raptors have gotten to this point in this season without completely falling apart and giving up. There's no way you can play Nick Nurse's defensive scheme if you don't go all out. And in some ways, I feel like that's part of the reason why we've been inconsistent on defense is that sometimes the will to play is not totally there because you're kind of fed up. You're sick of losing. You're kind of dejected because some of the things that happen on the court with referees, or maybe just things are not fair, or maybe you're just sick of losing a lot of games and it's hard to get up the effort. I mean, this makes sense, right? That there would be inconsistency with their defense just because the motivation may be going up and down at different times, considering how hard the season has been. So in some ways, I give them a lot of credit for weathering the storm of all this and still finding we still have a sound defense from time to time and do really well on it at this point in the season when everything could have just been yeah, we're shit. We're just going to bet. And that's it. So in some ways, I'm proud of them, even though they've been inconsistent on defense. They could have been way more inconsistent in some ways. Yeah, it's really tough. Nako's saying, Dana, you're not great. Dane Don's draws, are you? I don't know. Maybe they'll answer you. Nako. G saying Kelly from the 905 reminds me a bit of Boucher. Yeah. Yeah, they're the same body type. They're definitely super, super skinny guys. But yeah, that's interesting. All right. G's brought up something that I had on my itinerary to talk about today. G's saying the star of the game was Gary's jacket. And you know what? I can't disagree. I've got a picture of Gary Trent Jr. on the bench with Will Barton from Blake Murphy's Twitter. And he's saying, cool jacket, Gary. And it's a very cool jacket. It looks like it's kind of leather or maybe not. It's something. But he's got swatches of different Raptors jerseys of his jersey because number 33 is all over it. And he's got all the different styles. He's got the old school Raptors jersey in white with pinstripes with the dinosaur. He's got a red jersey. He's got a white jersey. He's got purple on there too. It's just really cool. That jacket that Gary Trent Jr. was wearing on the bench. In fact, I bet you some of those guys, different guys, have those jackets. Or how did you get that jacket, Gary? Who made that for you? Is that like a Casey Bannerman product or something? Somebody made that jacket for him, but it is amazing. Isn't it amazing? MSJ saying easy work win. I still foresee that 8 seed. Yeah, I'd like to see that too, MSJ. I think it's very doable. Let's see the Hawks stumble a little bit. We got to get some traction, though. We really messed up not beating the Pacers because we would be like very much closer to overtaking them right now because we'd be a half game. We'd be tied with them right now and have the ability to overtake them by either them losing tonight or us beating Washington tomorrow. It's too bad, though. We just got to go forward with what we've done, and hopefully we overcome them anyway. MSJ saying love Gary's jacket too. And yeah, it's one thing to get upset at a loss and poor play as the player, but some go after the person and the betting is ruining it. Get rid of the betting. Bet on horses. Yeah. Some sports are okay to do this. Some sports are okay to do this. The basketball is not. In some ways, it makes it even more insidious. In some ways, sports are messed up because it's true. Like they've talked about this recently. The idea of owners owning teams and owning players and trading them and all that kind of stuff. In some ways, it's gross. It's very, very fucking gross. And it harkens to really ugly times in the history of the world where people, are bought and sold as property. And that's what I'm saying, that like in some ways we blur the lines. In some ways, sure, these guys are making tons of money, but in some ways they're like beholden to these places. Like when I watched the Grizzly Truth and Steve Francis talked about why he didn't go to Vancouver when they drafted him. In some ways he was making this argument that was like, oh, just because I got drafted by you, you own me. In some ways, there's some real ugliness to this. Now, you add in people have personal financial stakes on players and how they do in games. In some ways, expands it from not just like an owner like Larry Tannenbaum owning the team and being like this level of it. Now, every little person out there feels like they have some ownership of the players like this. And it's just disgusting. It grows. Like NBA, seriously, do you want to make this a toxic cesspool? Because that's what you're doing. And I think MSJ's right. Bet on the horses. Horses are not people. They have feelings and they are living creatures and they should be treated well and everything like that. But in some ways, this is part of the problem. And this is a trend that could only get worse in some ways. I don't see it getting better. You're really opening up the door for a lot of like just really bullshit is what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this trend. I'm going to be very interested to hear the rest of Hustle Play and more of Chris's views on the subject. In fact, he may be just like there's a wind whistling out there. He may like be just like Fred VanVleet with the refs recently as a linchpin, something to open things up and kind of start like the thing going. Like Fred started this whole conversation about the refs. Well, maybe Chris will start a conversation about betting and how it may affect the NBA in a very, very negative, bad way. I mean, everybody needs to hear what Chris says is in this clip because they need to understand that these guys are humans and they're dealing with stuff that is just fucked up in some ways. Isaac saying, shout out to Raptors Freak for being awesome. You go, Isaac Campbell. I appreciate you. The benevolent Isaac Campbell in Ottawa, the nation's capital here. I hear that President Biden is in your city right now with Justin Trudeau hanging around, stuff like that. But you go, Isaac Campbell. Always happy to see you here. We appreciate you. Fiercey saying, thoughts on Thad Young's DMP. Yeah, I don't understand this completely in some ways. I know that maybe it's this. Nick knows what Thad gives him. He doesn't have to discover anything about him. So maybe it's like, I need to play Will because I need to get more reps. And, Jeffrey, love to get him in there more. Malachi, try to get him going good, But Thad, I already know what I'm going to get. And it's like, I can use him in the playoffs in a couple weeks, and it won't matter if I play him right now. In some ways, I wonder if Thad wants more games added to his career total, and that's why we should maybe be playing him even just for a couple minutes. I know Shanika really wants him to play. They were talking about him getting DMPs on Twitter, and she reacted to it like she's angry about it. I don't know. It's Nick's call. In some ways, listen, this is fucked up. Like the fans can't get on the right page on this. A couple weeks ago, they were saying, I don't want to see Thad Young playing anymore. Well, now he's not playing anymore. Now everybody's saying, well, when is he going to play again? That's what I'm saying. Fans are unreasonable. Fans are crazy. They're just going to see whatever isn't happening, and they're going to say, "Well, why isn't this guy playing?" It's like, well, there's only 48 minutes and 5 players that can play at all times, and there's only a certain amount of minutes, and y'all are unrealistic. Not everybody's going to get to play everything and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I'm not upset about Thad not playing. I don't think it's a big deal, and I don't think it actually is a big deal to him either. It's just that he knows he's a pro, as he's been a pro for so long, that he'll get his number called and he'll have to show up and do some good things for us, possibly in the postseason. Watch. Let's see. Trevor's saying, good morning. Good win last night. Pascal and Chris were awesome. Let's keep it going, Raptors. Let's go, Trevor J. One of the positive Raptor fans come here all the time. Great Raptor freak, Trevor J. I hear you, and I am with you on all of this. They were awesome for sure. Mike is here. Good to see Logical Raptors Fanatic. 2:00 today. Mike will be dropping his latest piece. I'm not even sure what you're talking about today, Mike. So let us know. Salute Real Ones, Project Truth always. Great effort, great comeback win. Tons of rookie burn. Boucher, wow, 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 wow. Dowtin and Flynn and Konono were outplaying the Pistons lottery pick, guys. We are solid. Wait, yeah, it was just a good win. We were commanding it the whole game. No, like they didn't even come close to us. It really was a cruise control. Let Nick Nurse kind of play different guys, and he didn't want to play Siakam for so long. In fact, Dwayne Casey kind of made a jab at Nick after the game for playing Siakam so long in a rout. Like he played 38 minutes, and none of the other guys got over 35 minutes, and it was rightfully so. But he wanted to take Siakam out, but he said the refs didn't have a stoppage of play. He didn't want to burn a timeout. So Siakam stood on the sideline ready to come in, but they kept playing for a while, and that ate into some of the minutes that he was that added on more minutes than he wanted to give him because it just didn't have a stoppage of play at the right time to get him out. And that was part of the problem is that they had somebody ready to go in for him, but there was no stoppage of play. There were no fouls. There's no timeout by the other team or anything. And he didn't want to burn a timeout. So Siakam got extra time just because of that last night. That's what Nick said. But Casey was like, what are you doing? Overplaying him so much in a rout. Well, that's why, Case. Nick wanted to take him out, but there was no stoppage of play at that period of time. And he got to play way extra more because there was just a run where there's no calls or anything going on. Very interesting stuff. Monique's saying 72 points at halftime, almost tied our record with 75. Yeah, I mean, we got up there. We've had these really crazy high scoring quarters and halves in recent weeks. That's been awesome and stuff. Yeah, good scoring output last night. But once again, this is one of the worst teams in the league. And not only that, it's a worst team in the league and it's missing like pretty much their 5 best players. So there's a lot to it. There is. Fiercely saying, I'm no tech expert, but pretty sure you can track down people sending these kind of messages. And yes, OG was also explosive yesterday. To your point, Clippers roster is fairly mostly vets. Yeah, Clippers are another good team for this. I way more trust an older core on a team than like a young core that just doesn't have any experience. That's part of the thing that historically in the NBA, a young upcoming team has to lose in each of the rounds before they can get all the way to the championship and win it all. Then it's not very often that a Cinderella team comes in with very young players and just runs all the way to the championship. That's why teams like Memphis Grizzlies probably don't really have a realistic chance because I mean, they've gotten certain levels already. So they have kind of built on it, but we would have to see because they do lack veteran presence and like leadership overall. Like Oklahoma City Thunder. I would not believe in them just because they don't have enough experience and older guys. So, teams like the Clippers, Phoenix, Golden State, they have an advantage out west because they have guys that have been there and done that, and they have been around for a while. Let's see. Monique is saying, yeah, and I hope they could track this down. Like, seriously, in some ways, these messages need to be treated like hate messages. For sure, it is a hate message, and there should be repercussions and stuff like that. If somebody's going to if they have the balls to direct message something like that to a player, the player should get, I don't know if it's John Attilia, because I know he's personal security with people around there, but maybe there should be a department in the Raptors organization that helps the players deal with toxic people like this that message them. that maybe there is some sort of like repercussions by law that they can come and get them and charge them with something. I would be all about that. I think that that may be the easiest way to deal with this. It's like let's show that the hate messages like this in a DM to a player like this, anybody, it could be to anybody. Maybe this needs to be a new law that, and maybe it'll help with cyberbullying. Maybe it'll help with people having so out of pocket questions, thinking they're so courageous they can get away with it because they're anonymous. Well, motherfucker, maybe you can't. Maybe we can track them down and we can give them a punishment. It may not have to be a jail time or anything like that, but maybe they need to get a big, huge fine, or maybe it is jail time or something like that. I don't know. I think that there should be something in place for this, and I would be totally fine with this because this is messed up. This is very messed up. Monique saying, or 76, my bad. 76? Yeah, 76 is the record. That's actually the record for most points and a half for the Raptors. G saying playoff games slow down, and this is what puts the youth at a disadvantage with their speed and where IQ and experience kicks in. For sure. Experience with matchups, experience with like one-on-one matchup with a counterpart in a 7-game series. Like, look, these old guys will know how to mess up these young guys' games because they've done it and they know how to adjust during a 7-game series. And some of these young guys may be one-trick ponies and really kind of relying on, things like what G is saying, speed and things like that. That speed gets cut off in the playoffs. This is all part of it. It's like it's part of the folly of some people think youth is the key in the NBA. No, it's not, y'all. It is not. It may be that we're cutting out more vets in the league and there's not as many around and there may be more younger players. That doesn't mean that they're better playoff teams or championship contenders. In fact, the teams that keep the older players around are probably smarter and are more likely to win championships. And that's why we need to let Pascal, Fred, and OG grow and be a little bit older. And they will be our vets in the next couple of years with the young guys learning underneath them. It was really interesting. The 4 guys who got double digits for us against Detroit last night were the 4 ring bearers, the 4 champions for the Raptors championship year. OG, Fred, Pascal, and Chris Boucher. Double-digit scores for us last night. The 4 ring guys, yeah. Shir Khan saying, I have a thing about sports betting for a long time. Gambling's become an epidemic ever since it's been made more accessible with smartphone apps, and league wants to capitalize on the trend. It is shameful. It's very shameful. I mean, I don't believe in this kind of stuff because the very poorest people lose their money and kids don't eat because daddy has an addiction problem. That kind of shit that pisses me off about it. You really need this. And, the accessibility and the convenience of it is part of the ugly insidiousness of it. It's right there in front of you, easy anytime. Before, if you want to make a bet, you had to call somebody or go to a location. Well, now you can do it at home and just do it at any time. Listen, I deal with alcoholism. I have to deal with alcohol around me all the time. And I have to like safeguard myself from picking up another drink. And if you're an addict, and you have this shit in your face all the time, it's very difficult sometimes. You really have to work on it all the time to safeguard yourself from slipping and falling. And in some ways, all the gambling stuff that's on TV around the shows is not helpful to people that have gambling addictions. And I hate it. I hate it because in some ways, it's just people capitalizing on people's weaknesses and people's problems. And they may be having economic hardships already in this world. And they think that they're going to win and get out of it. And that's not how it works. The house always wants to win and make more money. And I agree, Shir Khan. It's shameful. In some ways, it's like it's repugnant, and it's also kind of like it's just it's disgusting. It's really disgusting that you want to make this money off people. You feel good about yourself. People that are running these bet sites and making money off people, you're fucking leeches and parasites, and you're horrible. You're horrible people. Seriously, anybody who feels good about my betting Bet Rivers. I am the CEO of Bet Rivers, and I made 20 million last year off of stealing money from poor souls who can't fucking afford to put food on their dinner table. But I got all their money here because of this. This is the way it is now. We opened up gambling in Ontario. It's better for economics. No, it's not. It's better for poverty, motherfucker. It's better for poverty. And you motherfuckers you got it all on your hands. And if you can sleep at night this way, you fucking pieces of shit, Oh my gosh, seriously, this is horrible. And Shirkan's exactly right. This is an epidemic and it's only getting worse. And us as people, we already told them we don't want to see this Winston Chang guy telling us the lines. We don't care about that shit. We want to see basketball. We want to hear about the Raptors players. Could you humanize them more instead of making them commodities like fucking stocks? Seriously, I'd much rather hear a Savannah Hamilton interview with Chris Boucher talking about these issues and him putting a light on the bullshit about this than see Winston Chang or Wilson Chang or whatever fucking telling me the over and under on assists for this player or points and take this bet and do this. It's really like toxic. It's such a toxic thing. And I hate it. I hate it. In some ways, it's like really going to be bad for the league more and more as we go on. All right, let's keep going with the comments. All right, let me see. All right, I like to see all the different names in here. Shane is here. Good to see Shane Waters. Jeff Dowtin is a great playmaker and an excellent chase defender. Not worth it because of his age. No, he is not worth it because his shooting is inconsistent and his perimeter defense is horrible. Ooh, Shane, that's not nice. I love Jeff. I think Jeff is awesome. That I don't think that's true. I think his shooting's pretty good. Like he's honestly a very consistent shooter, and his perimeter defense is fine to me. I mean, Nick said it yesterday. He said his defense has been fantastic. He's very happy with Jeff. So yeah, I can't get behind that. Now the age thing, yeah, it's stupid. That reasoning is dumb. But yeah, man, I don't know. I can't get behind you on your comment, Shane. I'm sorry. I can get behind you on the first part, but not the second part. Logical saying, gee, facts. Weaknesses are defend better, and you need to be able to make any advantage possible and limit the mistakes. Youth make mistakes as part of growing and developing. That's what I'm saying. If you want to play to win in the highest, most pressure levels of the NBA Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals, you need to be pressure tested. And if you make like dumb mistakes because you want to make a no look pass, or you make a dumb mistake because you're being flashy, you really have to hone your game and play very smart in these situations. You got to play mistake free basketball. You have to play perfect. And some of the young players don't have an idea or a concept of how to play fundamentally perfect to get to that point of excellence to win it all. And that's the difference. In some ways, these guys allow a big room of error. They say, oh, there's so many shots and there's so many trips on the floor. No, the winners, the champions throughout the history of the NBA don't think that way. They try and make sure they get it every time. And they don't take plays off or say, oh, this play won't matter. We got the next one. We'll get the next one. No, they're not even thinking that way. They're making it every single time. They're executing every single time. And they're not fucking loafing or saying, oh, we'll get it next time. No. They're saying we got to get it every single time right now. And that's how they look at it. MSJ saying half the population is under 100 IQ. And sorry to say, sports fans are under that. I once read that WWE wrestlers are the smartest of all professional athletes, but you got some people saying dumb shit. And this is something that I have to remind myself too. Somebody's making a comment about all the NHL players right now coming out against wearing the pride jerseys. And somebody was saying, basically, I think it was Sean Woodley, Locked On Raptors, said, NHL players are actually the dumbest athletes out there. They really are, is what he has come to the consensus about the meatheads in the NHL that are refusing to wear the pride jersey and their reasoning behind it. The Stahl brothers and James Raymer. There's a few of them right now. But this is true. In some ways, we got to remember that it's like this. In some ways, it's just like it's really infantile and stupid. Oh, you make me lose money. I'm mad at you. You hurt me. I slash out and makes a really ugly racist comment. Yeah, there's some real idiots out there. I would believe you that you would say wrestlers are some of the smartest athletes out there because they have a lot of psychology and they have to perform and they have to be kind of like ahead of the crowd in some ways to fool them with fake moves. So yeah, that makes total sense. That wrestlers may be some of the most intelligent athletes out there. There's different athletes in different sports that are absolutely brilliant. They're very, very smart people playing sports, genius IQ, but they're not the norm. You're right. And especially in the fan nation, you're probably right. I need to remind myself of this. We have a very intelligent live stream here. Some people will say, what? You guys cuss all the time and you're singing songs and talking to puppets. Well, that doesn't mean it's not smart what we're talking about here. I call something stupid genius. Yeah, there's a little bit of a stupid genius here. SAS and Anya, good to see another new name here. Always happy to see new names here. We're here every day, 9:30 a.m. live, and I'll read every single comment. I want to see what you're saying. Good morning, Lex and Raptors freaks. It's Tada. Wow. Okay, it's Bradley. He's using his lady's laptop. Got to go and make the money to buy that jacket. Was wearing Gary was wearing. He wants to buy his jacket. Good eye, G. Later, Lex and Raptor Freaks, have a great day. Let's go. All right, he's on his ladies account. That's interesting. You should sub up on that one too, Bradley. It'll help me out. Get all the accounts subbed up on it. I appreciate you. He did, obviously, because he's in the chat. You go, Bradley, and have a safe day out there with Tada. Taking care of people's needs. If you have a carpet clean, whatever, wash the windows. These guys can help you. They're in the phone book in the 416, the Tada brothers and Tada company. They are just helpful around the house, doing all kinds of maintenance or just helping you out with painting. They'll do whatever you need. If you don't want to do the job, they will come and do it for you. Fun guys here. Oh, wow. I just hope you didn't miss the trick shot, Lex. It was sick. I don't know how you shoot from half court and it bounces at 3-point line and goes in. Damn, I'll take it, though. Truly special moment. What was the trick shot? I saw Fred make a really cool leaner that was high off the glass, and I was like, ooh, that was good. Who was the trick shot by? Who shot that? I guess I have missed it. I watched the highlights back, and I didn't see it. This is interesting. Man, listen, part of it is too, I'm finally feeling my voice like from the game. Like I'm really have a bad sore throat this morning. I'm not well. And I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit more now, 2 days after the game, going to the game with Tom and everybody. All right, I'm going to have to find out that shot. I'll go back and look at it, fun guy. Trevor's saying those fans talking like this are bandwagon fans. Those are the ones we don't care about. They're not the real ones. Yeah, they're not real fans. I really want the Raptors players and people around them that care about them to make this distinction, that there really are going to be different types of people out there. Like Chris, this is what Chris said, and I totally get it. In some ways, when you have an interaction with somebody that's so ugly like that in your DMs, you go out in public and you speculate on every single person that comes up to you, whether they're that kind of fan or a real fan like us that is like positive and passionate and caring and supportive. Because in some ways, they have to be guarded. In some ways, it's like, okay, this guy come up to him. And that's what I was kind of saying the other day. It's like, don't go up to Chris Boucher and tell him how to change his shot and shoot better in the league. Yeah, I know he has a weird rotation that spins around like this. And you think you could help him, but he doesn't need your help. And he doesn't need your advice. That's one thing. And that in some ways is less harmless than the other thing. As far as coming up to a player and yelling at them or giving them crap because they didn't exceed the expectations or do what they needed for you to make them win on their betting slips. Yeah, that's messed up. And this is why the players are receding from interacting with the fans, whether it's online or in person in public, because there's more of this kind of ugly interaction because of betting. It's so messed up. And I agree, Trevor, they're not real fans. It's like we got fans. There are people that just care about the team and basketball. They don't care about betting. They don't care about like this or that. You can have fans that are fans of players, individual players, fans like us that are fans of team. And then you got, people that aren't even fans. They're just people that have gambling problems or they just like the sport of playing gambling and they care about that more and they don't care about anything else otherwise. And that they're very egotistical, selfish people that are only wrapped up in themselves. And, there's distinctions now. And the players and everybody around them need to know that there are different levels and different groups within Raptors Nation, that they're not all fans like us. And some of them are just fucked up people that are toxic. Let's see. Nako saying, do we have a free roster spot for Jeff? No, we'd have to cut somebody. It'd be basically like we'd have to cut Will Barton or Joe Weezy to make it happen. And then they could jump in. He could jump in their spot. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if it's realistic. Shere Khan saying, we have college stars coming into the NBA who are used to winning their whole life and all of a sudden thrown into a situation where they have to lose just for development. Only the strong can survive that. That's right. That's right. You could be a winner all your whole entire life, and then you come to the NBA and you get drafted by the worst team in the league, and the next year you win like 15 games, and you have to lose like 60-something games. Yeah. That's the reality of the NBA, and it's hard. And even like sometimes, if you're the very best player, this is what happens to you. The history of the NBA, the best player goes to the worst team in the league, and that they have to go and build that team up themselves on their own shoulders. And they may not be good enough, they may not be experienced enough, and that team will suck for a while, and that will hurt their mentality and how they feel. Monique saying Raptors fans want CJ on the broadcast side. Why not? Right? Well, listen, of course, I'm going to be very partial to my guy, Alvin. He's in there. That's his spot. He's earned it. Some people have said he's improved greatly this season with his broadcasting, and I agree. Alvin's been badass, and he's even stepped up his style game. Like all the time when he goes to games, he's just wearing good clothes. Him and Matt will coordinate with the mock turtlenecks, and they had the hats the other day, stuff like that. Yeah, no, Alvin's been great, and there's not many spots there. And CJ's great too, but I like where CJ's at with what he's doing. But yeah, I don't. If you know what, maybe we could trade Sam Mitchell for CJ Miles. That would work. Like I'd be okay with saying, "Bye, Sam. See you later. Thank you. Good job. Thanks for the couple of these years of being on our broadcast and picking against us every year." Get CJ to sit in there with Leo and Kate Burness. I'd be okay with that, but I don't want him on the broadcast. Jack and Alvin are our dudes, and those are our guys. That's who I like there. Mike's saying it depends on the bonus of Gary Trent Jr. and Thad Young. We have some money, about 694,000. But if Gary doesn't hit his first bonus, playing in 50 games at 18 minutes per game with wins and playoffs, we could cut Barton and squeeze Jeff's 1 million in. Okay, so Mike's saying this is how it could work, but it has to do with whether Gary and Thaddeus get to certain bonuses on their contracts. So that's very interesting. Good stuff. NBA Quick Takes saying enough respect, fam. 100%. You go NBA Quick Takes. Check out NBA Quick Takes on YouTube. Quick Takes of the NBA on their channel. Yes, I love it. Shirkan saying true, Lex. Age is definitely not the best gauge for player development. Boucher was a late bloomer, and most role players are developed later in their career. After the first few years don't pan out. Signed, Dowtin. Yeah, everybody's on a different schedule. Boucher was a late bloomer. And think about it. If we'd given up on him, we wouldn't get all the great things about him in his late 20s. It could have very easily, that mentality would have been like, let's just waive Boucher a couple years after our championship or something like that. No. And this is why ordinary average dude on the street should not ever be a GM of an NBA team, is because they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or their perception of things is really weird. Space Cadet saying, I guess Dallas should have traded Doncic and Irving and tanked right after Raptor fans. That's what they would think. Yeah, that's a really disappointing loss that they had last night. In fact, Jason Kidd really brutally tearing into his team for their effort last night. Well, this is what happens when you get Kyrie. I'm sorry to say, Dallas. And now their loss last night has fallen them completely out of the playoffs. They're not even in the play-in at this point. You see the Kyrie effect. Yeah, there's your Kyrie effect, Dallas Mavericks. You guys had a playoff spot like a couple months ago. Now you've fallen right out of the playoffs completely. You were in a playoff spot, not even the play-in. And now you guys are looking out on to the inside from the outside. That's crazy to me. Wow. Let's see. Monique saying news and notes, Global Jam July the 12th and 16th. I believe tickets are on sale now. Good heads up by Monique Lawrence. The second year of Global Jam. Do you know what venue they're having it at? Are they having it at Maple Leaf Gardens again, somewhere like that, like they did last year? Fantastic stuff. Always love to see more Canadian events, basketball events in Canada. And Global Jam was a success last year, and glad to hear this going on again this year. Nameless is saying Pascal, Koloko, and Boucher was longer than an ostrich neck. Yeah, these guys, they very much cover up room and height. And, there was one play where he got called for a goaltend, but it was fishy. I don't know. I know it was pretty far out of the guy's hand and stuff like that. But, yeah, Koloko's definitely getting rookie calls that aren't totally fair to him. That's been the case since the beginning of the year. They're not totally respecting him yet, but they will eventually. Trust me, they're going to have to. They will respect him down the road. Watch. Logical saying, I didn't know you can ROS the minimum Dowtin has. The language in the two-way conversion clause, it says the two-way can only become a minimum with no bonus Question is if you can ROS Jeff at the moment. In my opinion. All right. Well, I listen. Once again, if something happens with Jeffrey where we can play him in the postseason this year, that'd be fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world, everybody. So let's just relax. He will be sticking around. We've already been tipping the hat that we like him, and I know he likes us too. And so, we like each other. Maybe we'll still go steady after this year and into next year, guys. Shir Khan saying there's a lot of talks around Noji that where there's smoke, there's fire when it comes to reports about him not being happy. I certainly don't see it. He seems okay with his team and inconceivable. I know it's ridiculous. That's the same dumb report that's been going around circulating for a couple years. It's just they wish. This guy is such a highly prized commodity in the NBA as far as like a great defender and all around player in some ways. People lust for him. Steve Ballmer, other people, they lust for our players. And he is very much maybe one of the most attractive players on our team. And this is all subterfuge. This is all like noise put out there by other teams, hoping and praying that OG may be upset, unhappy, like a Jaylen Brown, and ready to leave his team, like a Jaylen Brown. And it's not true. You can see it. And all right, I'll give you. I'll go ahead and give you guys 4 things that I've seen in the last month that'll tell you why OG is not wanting to leave the Raptors. Number 1, he has been smiling more than ever recently. In fact, that whole joke about him smiling after dunks and talking about him smiling, well, he's smiling a lot, and he is very, very happy. Smiling means happy, right? Any idiot out there that thinks he's not happy, well, let's go see how often he's smiling. He smiles way more this season than he has in any other season, honestly. He seems like he's in a really good, happy place. Second, did you see how much fun he had with Pascal trying to watch the highlight of his clip on the board after he made that clip? He's like, let's stop, Pascal, and let's look and see what I did on the clipboard. That's awesome. I love that. Third, let's think about his role. Like, what is he not able to do on the court? He's able to do whatever he wants. He gets to choose who he wants to defend every game. He usually wants the very toughest assignment, and he gets to play that. He gets his opportunity to shoot, and I don't think he's not getting the opportunity to shoot. He very much has a green light, and he can shoot a lot, and he does score a lot. So all that kind of argument is stupid. And then finally, the 4th reason, go watch his Staples commercials. You tell me if that's somebody not happy. Those commercials are amazing. He's so funny in them. If you have not watched OG Anunoby's Office is in the Paint Staples commercials, please go watch them right now. They will make your day. You will be smiling from the sunshine and happiness of the joy of the mashup that is OG Anunoby with The Office, the sitcom, because that really is what it is. It's like, what if OG Anunoby starred on The Office? Yeah, you put OG on The Office, you get those Staples commercials, and they're hilarious. So you tell me, is OG unhappy on the Raptors? He doesn't like being here. Yeah, they're idiots. Inconceivable. Just like that guy on Princess Bride says. Let's see. Lion Hunter saying, frustrating seeing Fred go through another shooting slump. I thought that was a thing of the past. His shooting has been so good in 2023. Hopefully it was just a 2-game slump. In some ways, Fred didn't really play that bad last night. Honestly, I mean, I know he's 5 for 16. He's high volume and he's not making as many as he could. But honestly, that's not a very egregious like shooting thing. Sure, I would have loved him to shoot better than 33%. But it is what it is. And he didn't really hurt us too bad. In fact, he was a plus 19. So we can't be too upset with Fred. I don't really look at him being in a slump right now. He's been in slumps this year, but I don't think he's in a slump right now. He's just not hitting all of his shots right now, but he is hitting some of them. He slumps when he doesn't make hardly any of them. So I don't know if I characterize it that way, Lion Hunter. Good to see you, though. Always one of my favorite Raptor freaks. Tom Duke saying, good day. I felt so bad for Big Yak on that harsh knee from Ivey. Reminded me of that mascot matchup we got that syrup last night. Oh, Tom, what a awesome, brilliant comment. Listen, I forgot about this. Yeah, Jaden Ivey's knee to the groin, knee to the nuts. Yeah, that was dirty as hell and messed up. And it really, like, you could tell it hurt Jakob. He went down like a man would if somebody gets kneed in the nuts like that. And in fact, it was so egregiously looking bad that John Goble and the refs, Mitchell Urban, had to go watch it. And I was like, are they watching it to see it because they think it's funny because it's like a knee to the groin? Or are they watching it to be serious? Because if they had not called a flagrant on that, I would have been like, yeah, they're just watching it to be funny. But no, they did call a flagrant on it, and rightfully so, because there was a very, very unnatural left to his knee into his groin that he didn't need to bring his knee up like that. So that was very flagrant, and they made the right call. I think that a lot of men around the world watching that clip were like, ooh, and maybe in some ways that's why Goble and Irvin went and looked at it and made sure that they did something about it, because they probably maybe felt it themselves. And yeah, that was cheap shot by Jaden Ivey for sure, and intentional. Honestly, I do think it was intentional. But yeah, we'll see how that affects the mascot matchup going forward. Maybe we add something from that little incident into the story. We'll see. And we did get a good layer of syrup last night for sure, Tom. And that was a very important thing about last night. I'm glad that we did get that syrup. There was no stress about this game, and we got a lot of good minutes spread out for a lot of players that haven't played a whole lot recently. And I'm glad that that all happened. That's good stuff. Shirkan saying Nick was saying that he wanted to get Pascal the game. He just didn't get a chance since they were getting a lot of fast breaks in the fourth. But I think it was more Pascal trying to fine tune for the playoffs. No, he literally said like he had a guy at the scorer's table to come in for him, but there was no break or stoppage in the play. And normally the refs will call a couple whistles and then you can get a guy in. But there was a really weird amount of time where Pascal had to stay in the game because there just was no stoppage to play. And it increased his numbers total. I'll bet you he played like 3 more minutes than he wanted him to because of that, exactly by that. It was crazy. But, it's not a big deal. You have him out there. He's doing some stuff. He's doing good things. He played really good the whole entire game. Instead of getting off to a slow start and showing up late like he did against Indiana, he came out there and established right away and made sure he played strong right from the first quarter. And I think that was something that he wanted to prove to himself was, yeah, I didn't start very well against Indiana and I showed up later and I feel bad because that's partly why we lost. I want to make sure tonight against the Pistons, I'll get a jump on them and get off to a good start right away. And he did. He did. I know that that's part of why he did that. Dana's saying, Logical Raptors fanatic. No, that's not me on Twitter. Okay. Just so you know, that's not Dana on Twitter. Logical saying, no problem, Dana. Salute always. Really cool tattoo. Raptors link. It is fire. Raptors Inc. It is fire. Cool. So there's a Raptors tattoo. Awesome. Love it. Daddy's saying Jeff Dowtin Jr. guarded Ivey very, very well. In my opinion, his on-ball defense is better than any other guard off the bench. I think I can get behind this with Daddy here because I see it too. It's what it is. He's really good at crouching and like very much being engaged. And if you see him, he rocks back and forth like this, and he has his hands to the side like this. And he's either like he does a little bit of that crab movement where you run side to side like a crab would on the beach. And then he's just really, really in tune and like so locked in as far as like he's not distracted. He's very much on what he's supposed to be doing. And the other thing is he has proximity when he's usually guarding guys. Like he doesn't hang back from them. He's usually right up on them. And in some ways that's really dangerous in case they get a first step around you, but he's really good at shifting and pivoting and crab running side to side. And I agree with this. I think he's better than Malachi. I think he's better than Will. I think he's better than Fred at this and this particular skill. And that's why in some ways I think people really want to see him be a part of the playoff roster, is that this skill could be incredibly useful in the playoffs in the postseason. And that, I would get behind this because I see this too. I really do see what Daddy's saying here. And I agree with it, that I think he is the best on-ball defender in some ways on our team at the perimeter. Let's see. As above, so below. Good to see you again today, sir. Let's see. What are you saying? Jumped a little bit. Let me make sure I get to the right spot. We need to let them know how important they are to us besides the game. We wake up, live, breathe Raptors. Let's put a game together as appreciation. Rexdale up. Yes. Yes. As above, so below. Listen, if there's going to be ugly, toxic bullshit being sent to them too, we need to shower them with love and drown it out. We need to really show them the percentage of people that are good, positive, nice people in this world outweigh the ugly, awful people like what Chris described. And in some ways, I'd love to see for every one of those bad, ugly, toxic messages, like 25, 100 messages from positive fans that are just showering love and encouragement and telling them, good things about them. In some ways, Chris talked about this too in the clip. He said, listen, I'm not one of these guys. Some of these guys live and die with the opinion of the fans, and it wrecks them. It wrecks their mental health because they need the breath of like the positive, like things saying about them to feel good about themselves. And Chris said, I don't use that for me to feel good. I have separate things. That stuff's great. And I don't mind hearing nice messages, obviously. But in some ways, I don't need it to breathe. I don't need it to sustain myself. And some players fall in that trap where that, like, if the players, like, if they're not playing well, the fans will turn on them and then they crash mentally and go into a depression. Because in some ways, the words of encouragement they were getting before turn into words of derision and contempt and judgment. It can really hurt a guy. So in some ways, it's like what they say: don't take any bad things that are said about you to heart, and don't take anything they say about you that's good either, because in some ways you could depend on getting pumped up from all the happy messages all the time. And when they go away, you get deflated, or maybe something you depended on them too much. And you just don't want to do that. It's really smart advice that Chris has. And I hope, he's spreading that kind of advice to people like Scotty, Gary, and Precious and other young Raptors on this team, because, that can really mess with your psyche. Is only caring, if you care about what the fans think too much, it could really mess you up. And but I agree, we need to counteract any kind of toxic messages going to them still with abundance of just a showering of love and support, and just saying, like, listen, I've heard what that person said to you in that message, and that is messed up. And not a lot of good fans out there do not stand like that and really want you to know that we love and support you, and it's disgusting. If we can find out who their handle is, please, Chris, tell us, and we'll go find them. Rexdale up, baby. Yes. So as so above, so below. Sheer Constant, so annoying that every Raps pregame on TSN or Sportsnet, there's a betting segment. We never had that before, and now have to change the channel when it's on, hoping that it's a fad that goes away soon. It sucks. Like, I feel bad for that Wilson guy, because you can tell that the in-studio guys hate him. Sam Mitchell and Leo hate him. And he knows that everybody hates him at home. That this is not a welcome part of the broadcast. We don't want to see your bullshit, Wilson Chang. I'm sorry, bro. It's nothing personally against you. It's just that you're the dude. You're the symbol of it, because you're the thing that doesn't belong on the telecast to us. You're new and you're not welcome in a lot of ways. And in some ways, I feel bad for him. You can see his energy on the TV. He doesn't feel welcome, and he feels edgy. I can tell the way he delivers it, and he's very unsure. And he kind of feels like, maybe he feels a little scared, because in some ways he has to be brave for the capitalist bullshit assholes that are making money off this and be their little shill little like salesman on TV. And in some ways that's not fair to him, because a lot of people hate you, bro, just because of what you're doing symbolizes. And it's not totally fair to you. You're the human person that's the target of it. And in some ways, I'll bet if he's out in public, he hears it from people. He's like, get your stupid gambling shit off the TV, motherfucker. So there are probably people that say that kind of shit to him in real life. And in some ways it's warranted, but it's not like personally to him, but maybe to the machine that he represents. Let's see. Logical saying Jeff Dowtin is on the team next year. In my opinion, we have him in restricted free agency this summer. Even if we don't convert him, 1.7 million for a guard that works and fits the system and has been learning all year to be prepared. Yeah, that sounds like a great price tag for him. I think it is just a slam dunk. We need to keep him in our franchise in a spot somewhere, and it doesn't need to be G League. He needs to be on our main roster. He's ready. He does not need to be down there anymore. I think a couple of people have said that recently. This guy does not need to be a G League player anymore. He's graduated. He's an NBA player, and he needs to be a rotational player for the Raptors next season. We put all this work into him, and we got him around us, and he loves it here. Trust me. Once again, Jeff Dowtin has been very happy being a part of the Raptors organization, and hopefully he will be on the Raptors organization next year also. Let's see. Nameless is saying, common people drop a like, even if you have to unlike later. Hey, I don't mind. People can drop likes, whatever. I appreciate it. It does help with the algorithm, the comments, the likes, write stuff in there, share me. It does get more attention for me through the algorithm of YouTube and puts me in more places. So, I mean, it's not that I'm trying to expand or grow really quickly or anything. I want to do it in the right way with the right people. It's not about numbers for me, it's about quality over quantity. But we want to be able to get out there more so more passionate, positive Raptor fans know about the channel so that they can find it and join us and be able to espouse their views also on here. Shirkan saying Thad at this stage of his career is a situational talent because of his experience. He can make the right plays. We will see a lot in the playoffs to match up with vets and on the other team. Thad, the smart guy. I think this is right. This stretch end, like I'll bet you we may see Thad more in the last couple of games of the season against Boston and Milwaukee, just for a tune up a little bit. But definitely, he was so helpful against the Sixers in the first round last year that it just makes sense. And in some ways, he knows what he gets with him, and he doesn't really need to discover things about Thad. And that's why he doesn't need to play him right now. It's like Mike said recently, Logical Raptors fanatic said, that in some ways Nick is still in a discovery mode at this late stage of the season because of new additions like Will Barton and Yaka Poeltl. So it is what it is. MSJ saying with betting and NBA and the CCP are likely joined at the hip in this rise in gambling. Yeah, I wonder about this. Like it is all about the money. Doug Ford is such a weird dude, and it really is like he's a mobster. He's a gangster. And in some ways, he's hand washing, one hand washes the other. He's probably got dirty fingers in with some of these gambling companies, and he's probably getting a piece of the pie himself. He legislates and makes the laws in Ontario to allow and open up this. Well, he's probably getting some kickbacks. He's probably getting a little bit of money from Bet Rivers and all these other big online casinos that are all over our TV all of a sudden. That's part of the deal. That's part of the sweetheart deal. This is how it works, guys. I give them the ability to do this and they pay me on the other side. I'm Doug Ford. I'm a criminal. I'm a mafia. Yeah, that's what he fucking is. This dude's a mobster. He always was. Rob Ford was a mobster, a crack smoking fucking mobster, and so is his brother. And I just wish his brother was just as inept as Rob. Because fuck, man, him being the premier of Ontario is horrible. And it's destroying all kinds of things, whether it's the gambling shit, whether it's the things he's trying to do, the green belt, whether it's things he's trying to do to our health care. He's a disgusting, horrible mobster that's trying to make money off the blood and misery of our people. That, if he can get a price of the money off of our health care and our dying and our ailments, he will, just like the US and their fucking soulless healthcare system. Man, I don't want to go too far on this because I will get really upset right now. Oh, it makes me so mad. But you're right, MSJ. They all work together in conjunction. Mike saying last night's block clinic by Konono and Boucher was impressive in many ways. The Pistons announcer was raving about Konono and Boucher on the offensive boards and blocking shots, how they were similarly good. Well, they're just a double threat. And it's fun that they can play on the court at the same time and we can get away with it because they're mobile enough to do that. Yeah, there's a lot to like about that. Shane Waters is saying, don't ever be sorry for disagreeing with me, friend. I hope that I'm wrong about him. All right, cool, Shane. Yeah, well, that's all right. I appreciate that. And this is important that we all need to be able to agree to disagree sometimes. We're not all going to agree on the same thing. If we all agreed on the same thing, then we'd be like robots. And we don't want to do that. We're all individuals and we have our own perspectives. I just appreciate that y'all find my perspective worthwhile to listen to in the morning. And I appreciate y'all's perspectives. And I really do get enriched from the way you guys look at things also. It's important to have perspectives from different people because we are not the end all be all of everything and know everything. We really do not. And people can teach us all the time. Isaac saying bench needs defense first to win. Wait for it. Day in, day out, Boucher and Dowtin brought the fight. Raptors be growing. Dowtin and Fred on the same line will bring it. Ooh, I like that. We saw a lot of Fred and Red last night. Freddie and Reddy, Red Van Vleet, Mr. Malachi Flynn. But we didn't see as much of Fred out there with Jeff. Jeff was out there later, and Fred kind of was done for the night pretty early last night. And he didn't get as many minutes on the court with Jeffrey. But that's an interesting combo that I didn't think about that much, Isaac. that, Jeffrey with Fred out there. Yeah, in some ways, I like what you're saying. As above, so below. Shale Sonnen would educate a lot of people in sports and out. Weird comment about the NHL. I don't buy that NHL is the most dumb athlete. Have you been synchronized swimming? Well, they all have to think the same because they have to synchronize. So they share a brain. No, I mean, I think it really is like, listen, I think that Sean Woodley, when he made this comment, and I'm elaborating, I don't know if he means it for sure. I think in some ways what he's elaborating on is in some ways some of the hockey players can be very like closeted with their views because they come from very homogenized small communities in Canada, across Canada, that don't deal with race or culture or people that are different. And that part of the problem with what's happening with the pride jerseys in the NHL right now is small town closed mindedness is showing up, and maybe just a little bit of white supremacy and racism. There's a lot of that the NHL deals with. There's a lot of problems with racism in the NHL. Obviously they don't have a high percentage of African American or African or Black players in their league, and that there's issues in minor hockey with a lot of racism, sexism, like hazing, a lot of like really disgusting things. There's a bad culture with the coaches and the like hockey dads, hockey parents that are like violent. And there's a lot of different things. And some of that signifies a low IQ. And that's what the thing is I think that's where they get it from. And I agree with Sean. In some ways, some people would want to say, oh, the NBA probably has the dumbest athletes out of all the pro sports, but I don't think that's actually true. I think that the NBA players are a little bit more worldly and a little bit more like culturally educated and a little bit more like aware and just like open-minded. And that's part of the problem. A lot of hockey people may be very closed-minded people that live in a very regimented idea of what the world should be. And it's a very white world. Let's just put it that way. And that's part of the issue here. And that's why I would agree with Sean Woodley. There's a lot of blind spots for hockey people in some ways. And some of it's not their fault. They come from a small town in Saskatchewan, and they don't deal with a lot of Chinese people or a lot of gay people or a lot of Black people. Well, they're ignorant people and they're dumb. And that's where we get this from. They are stupider because they don't have as much experience in the world and they're not as worldly in some things because they're very closed-minded and they come from a small town. And that's really kind of where I get this from. That's what I agree with Sean to a degree, although I know that baseball players are really dumb too. So I could say maybe the MLB might give them a run for their money, or maybe even the NFL. But I would tell you right now, I would bet you money out of the four major sports, if you took everybody's IQs and you could actually rank this and see the raw data, that the NBA may be the smartest league in all four of the major sports leagues. And that may go against a lot of racist rhetoric and thinking that people would want to think, oh, the NBA is probably the stupidest league because it's mostly Black. Well, I don't agree with that. I think that they're actually probably more worldly and more aware and more smart than any of the other four leagues. I would, if I had the time and I could have the resources to get the data and do all the number crunching, it's part of my old background in my graduate work, number crunching, this kind of stuff. I do the work and find out for you guys, but I don't have the time and I don't know where that data is. So I can only speculate. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe synchronized swimming is really dumb too. But I would say the NBA is probably the smartest league out of all of them. Mike's saying it was a church thing with Reamer. He used to play here and was extremely religious. His whole family is too. He's a strict Catholic and felt it wasn't right. His values being a leader in his church. Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that. Listen, any church that doesn't include people, LGBTQ people, and has a problem with them, that's not a good church. That is basically, these are hateful people. And honestly, if you really are a religious person and you care about God and Jesus, well, you're not following God and Jesus if you denounce or you don't have anything with this. I can understand your problems with, homosexuality and not, men and women are supposed to be together and not that. Okay, that's for your own private life. They make that decision for every single other person in this world. And that's one of the biggest problems with religion. They want to control everybody and tell them what they can do. So I completely disagree with James Reamer. I think he's tone deaf. I think he's a fucking idiot. I'm glad he's not on the Leafs anymore. And I don't care. That religion excuse is bullshit. Because any religion that discounts or does not include LGBTQ people is not a good religion. It's a religion of hate. And in fact, I don't think they should get any like tax breaks or anything like that because they're borderline hate groups, as far as I'm concerned. To me, what James Reamer and the Stahl brothers are doing is hate group stuff, and they encourage other people to denounce them also and be that. That's the part of the thing is they're role models. Somebody sees their best favorite hockey goalie say this, they want to be like them. Well, you just made another little bigot, James Reamer. Congratulations. You want to be encouraging to the young people to be bigots. Well, you set that example. You're a bigot, and you're going to make more little bigots because you're an athlete. People look up to you and they look at your views and they're like, I want to be like James Reamer. All right, well, now you're a little bigot too. And that's just how it goes. All right, let's keep going. Shere Khan saying Dowtin seems inconsistent to general viewers because of his inconsistent time on the floor. There's a solid role player hidden in his game, yearning to come out and show us what he can do. I completely agree with this, Shere Khan. Sign Dowtin. Once again, that's the second time Shere Khan has done the hashtag sign Dowtin. Yeah, no, I completely agree with this. He's a very good role player. If not, eventually someday, maybe a starting point guard in the league. I may not be the level ever in the league, but there's a possibility. Definitely a great role player. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rabbit Free Crew. We got an easy W, just tuned in. I love Alvin and Maddie twinning. Yes, release Sam and add CJ Miles. Okay, so Cool Cat likes that trade I'm talking about. Yeah, can we send Sam back to the States? He can go cover Minnesota Timberwolves games. He can go cover U.S. stuff. And he doesn't necessarily have to be here with us. And we get CJ Miles in there with Kate Burness and Leo Routins instead. I'm all about that trade too. Cool Cat. I love it. Fun Guy saying Alvin Williams has massively improved. Remember last year I was complaining about his lack of constructive sentences and tripping over words and saying stupid shit. Alvin is way better now by a lot. Yeah, he developed and he got better. I knew he would. You got to honestly think last year was his rookie year. He's in his second year. He's just like Scott. He's on the same timeline. His rookie year was last year, and now it's really kind of his second year. And he's improved. He's much more polished. He's much more confident. He's dressing even more stylistically. He feels a good vibe with Matt at this point. They have a good vibe with each other. Some of it was last year was a little awkward, a little stepping on toes. But, Alvin's really smart, and he's paying attention, and he's honing his craft. He's understanding where are those natural stops where Matt Devlin's calling the game for him to jump in and give his little tidbits and stuff, or how to do this and that. And once again, I love that he's not totally polished. Like he can be very outspoken in a raw way. And I love his old stories, obviously, and just his vernacular. And some of the things he says are hilarious, and so good. You keep going, Alvin Williams. I was so happy to see you once again this week and give you kudos to your face and tell you just how much of a super fan I am of you individually. I'm a big Raptors fan, but I'm definitely an Alvin Williams super fan also. That he is somebody that is a very, very important player to me. One of my favorite players of all time that ever played in the NBA. And I just cherish the fact that I've met him 3 times now. And maybe he's starting to get to know me. And maybe like, oh, there's the Raptors freak now. Okay, hey, this is my guy, the Raptors freak. He's always looking out for me and pumping me up on his channel. Yeah, he's gotten way better, Fun Guy. I'm glad you came around on that. I know some of y'all were very critical of him last year. And I'm glad you guys didn't give up on him. And we got to this point with him now. Fiercely saying Dana and Sass sending you a warm welcome to the fam, like the one I had last year. Yes, I love it. Hearts sent everywhere. Fiercely Salsera, Scotty Barnes, Twitch family original. Somebody who spent all last summer with us, the summer of 2020, was Scotty Barnes on his Twitch in the chat. Fiercely is from that path to come to here, and I'm glad to see more new names this morning. Honestly, every day you guys can come in here and be around. I know not everybody's going to be here every day. There's going to be some days you won't want to sleep in. I sometimes have those days where I'm like, nope, I got to get up and go. I got to get out there. They're dependent on me. I'll be there at 9:30. Evelyn's saying, I heard Isaac Campbell's name last night at Raptors Tonight. He commented that Alvin Williams' look was so amazing. There you go. We're getting more of the Raptor Freaks names shouted out in the comments on Raptors Tonight. Shere Khan a couple games ago, and now Isaac Campbell got his comment read last night. I have not watched that Raptors Tonight from last night, but I will, especially now that I know Isaac got his name on there. Keep going, Raptor Freaks. Get on there and pump them up and let them know. Maybe remind Randy about our channel here because he's supposed to come and join us and be a part of our channel. He said he would when I talked to him personally on Wednesday night. That he'd come and check out Greg and I's channels on YouTube. And, if he doesn't show up in here, maybe we need to go and remind him in the chat, Shere Khan, or Isaac, Tom Duke, you guys are in there. Monique, you could be in there too. And tell Randy, we want to see you at Raptors Freak at 9:30 in the morning and see if he'll come in here and interact with us here. That'd be awesome to have him as a guest in the speech, in the comments and stuff like that. But yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that Isaac was on the show last night. Great information, Granny Evelyn. Shir Khan saying, I don't think people have noticed something about Alvin. He is always bringing his real self to the broadcast, not able to hide the real him, and brings out honest talk. That's what I like about him most. Listen, this is the thing. Our world's getting more and more like, I want to cheat you. I just want to get money from you. So many people are ingenuine right now. You don't know who to trust. That when you hear people like Alvin and myself that are just like, we're being ourselves and we're speaking our truth. Chris Boucher, another one that people gravitate towards that these days. There's so much bullshit out there. People want something for something all the time. And when you find somebody who has genuine intentions, somebody that is like, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing, and this is not for money, what I'm doing here. This is just me being me and talking about it. Alvin on the broadcast is like, look, he doesn't have to say what he has to say. He could be a lot safer, but he doesn't mind being outspoken and being his true, authentic self. And I think that that's something that more and more people, as we get into an age of AI and fucked up like disconnection through like, DoorDash apps and different things, we're getting more disconnected in some ways. That in some ways people really are thirsting and wanting more genuine, like real. They just want real people and none of this bullshit anymore. And I think that's why in some ways people are attracted to hearing somebody like Alvin Williams on the broadcast, or hearing Chris Boucher's realness on the Hustle Play podcast, or even sitting here and watching me presently right now. That we're no filter, and we're honestly, what you see is what you get. You get Lex like this. You get Alvin like that. You get Chris like that. And this world needs more of us, because there are a lot of other people out there talking out the side of their mouth, and they have other intentions for you than that's messed up. And I think that is something that people are attracted to about him. Logical saying, fun guy, facts. He's really developed his flow and piecing the thoughts really well now. Adding that IQ and improving the delivery has made him a great announcer, in my opinion. I'm going to turn around and say this about Mike. Proofreading and reading your comment through has really improved your delivery, Mike. You're just like Alvin, Mike. You're getting your Alvin Williams star of the day because you have worked on how you write your comments. You proofreaded them. I actually see some commas in there, and I want to give you the same props that you just gave Alvin Williams. How about that, Mike? I turned it around and gave it to you. Isaac saying at Evelyn, I was thinking of what this community represents when I said it. Got to share the love. Alvin is a high IQ Raptors point guard legend. You go, Isaac. I'm going to have to find out what you said on that show, because I don't know exactly what you said. But yeah, Alvin is a very, very smart, intelligent guy. Honestly, he really, really is. And he's a Raptor legend, always will be. Shane saying, Shir Khan, I'm an obsessed viewer, and I see Dowtin's inconsistency on perimeter defense. In today's NBA, as a guard, you need perimeter defense. Dowtin has the same problem as Malachi in Nurse's eyes. See, I don't see it. I'm watching too, Shane, and I see him holding up guys and doing okay. All these guys miss assignments from time to time. And part of the problem is the Raptors don't look good on perimeter defense because Nick Nurse's defensive scheme asks them to gamble and go for steals and jump in the passing lane. And sometimes there's a little bit of half gambling in some of the guarding because they're ready to just burst through and just steal the ball when they try and pass it. Sometimes that may mess them up and they get burned and they get by because there's some gambling going on. I think that may be part of what you're seeing, but I don't know, Shane. Once again, we'll agree to disagree, but we'll just have to see. If you don't think he's a good perimeter defense, that's fine. I think he is, but that doesn't mean either one of us is right or wrong. We don't know exactly. Evelyn's saying, Isaac, I agree with you 100%. Awesome. I love that. I don't even know what he said. I'm just going to say I agree with you guys too, because I trust both of you. Shir Khan saying there was a caption showing the Nets in 7th spot and Mavs in 8th at this time. Both franchises handled poorly, in my opinion. Detroit, Houston is also strange. New Orleans, San Antonio have bright futures for sure. Our Raps in the best spot. I like that, Shir Khan. I think that our future is very bright also. But yeah, it's interesting what's happening with the Mavs right now with getting Kyrie. The Nets, Listen, I'd love to see them in a playoff game. We're going to play somebody in the play-in and try and get into the first round against the Boston Celtics in that. It would be playing the Nets right now and overtaking the Hawks to get to play the Nets. Cool Cat said Dallas traded away their defense for Kyrie. OG will not be poached away. Scotty loves OG, great friends, and Pascal helps him a lot, is a big brother to him. Bromance is thriving on our team. Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, we have really good connections, good friendships on our team. And OG's kind of like in the middle of it all. In fact, he's kind of the bridge to the young guys to the older guys in some ways, because he does very much fit very well in with Scotty, Gary, and Precious. But also, he's been with Fred and Chris and Pascal and Jakob forever. So in some ways, he is kind of the bridge guy. And maybe there's other people outside of the Raptors that hate us and want to destroy us. And they're thinking, who's the, OG seems like he's the middle of the whole team. He's the one we should get rid of next. We got them to get Kawhi gone. They got Mark and Serge gone. Norman and Kyle. We have to destroy this team as much as we can by luring away their best players. That's why we want OG on the state side and not on Canada's side. There's a lot of that thinking that's going into this, that OG's too good all-around player to be on our team, and that's why he shouldn't be on this team. And that is why they all of a sudden start talking about OG doesn't seem happy in Canada. That's what they hope. That's wishful thinking, because they want him to be on that side of the border. And that's not true. It's not true. And Cool Cat's exactly right. Scotty and OG are best friends. They're best friends. And there's too many good connections and happiness on our team. He's not unhappy here. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips, a regular on our channel for a long, long time. One of the great Raptor freaks, Randolph Phillips. We love you, Randolph, and your family. Hope everybody's doing good today. Morning blessings to our beloved, most informative gang. Happy for the win and that so many of our players got minutes. Hope we see more of this. I'd love more blowouts on the way out of the season. That'd be great. Rest our guys and explore more with the bench guys. Sure, but I don't know how realistic this will be. I mean, maybe we can get a blowout tomorrow against Washington. That may not be likely. I'll look at where they're at right now with their injuries and who's playing well and tell you guys maybe if we have a chance to get another blowout tomorrow. But we may not. And maybe the best chance to blow out a team again will be in Charlotte when we go there for 2 games in a row. But otherwise, these are going to be dogfights. These are going to be tough games. Miami and Philadelphia, yeah. Those will be tough fights. And even, of course, Boston and Milwaukee to finish the season. These are going to be tough games, depending on whether they're trying to do right at the end of the season with seeding or resting guys. That may have a factor in what we see, though, with Milwaukee and Boston also. G. St. Shir Khan, good point. Raptors regular starters on average are 25 years old. We need to be excited about their future. Yeah, we should be growing into good things, but we need to be patient as a fan nation. We need to allow Masai and Nick and them to develop this team and get there and get there in the time that they need to get there. And it may not happen as fast as some people in our nation want. And they'll whine and cry, and they'll be more likely to want to crumple it up and throw it away before it actually gets to actually that right point. There's a very much a pattern with our team. If people haven't noticed in the last 10 years that we get to a player like Pascal or OG, and they're not playing very well. They're inconsistent early in their development as a young player. And everybody's like, yeah, well, let's just get rid of OG or let's just get rid of Pascal. They want to just get rid of them when they don't feel like they're doing well. Well, if we do what these people say with those individual players at that time, we would not reap the benefits of what they're doing right now. That we would have gotten rid of every single good player before they got good, because these people have no patience. Well, let's take this, what we've done to these individual players, and apply it to the whole damn team. This is the same damn thing. It's just like somebody saying in OG's third year, yeah, he's not developing fast enough offensively. Let's trade him. Or Pascal's never going to be that good. He's only going to be this mid. Let's trade him. Well, boom. All of a sudden, he's an all-star. He's an all-NBA kind of player. And, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You give up on stuff too soon, and then it gets better somewhere else. And then you're like, why did we do that? Well, we don't want to do that. And that's why we trust in Messiah. And we don't trust in you yahoos that have no patience. And that's what I want to say. Apply what I just said to an individual player to the whole entire team right now. And that we can't give up on this team. Like a lot of broadcasting teams that have said from other teams have said this core needs to stay together for Toronto, because they need to go further and develop more and show just how much more they can get better. and I'm totally all about that. Yeah. All right, let's see. Mike is saying, okay, why did it jump so much? It jumped way ahead. Let me make sure I get the comment that he has here. Okay, debating some fans yesterday, and they said Fred can't be shooting like 20 shots, but clearly didn't understand how we play. We create more shots than the other teams. Shot averages are increased by that. Yeah, and he's supposed to get those shots. Everybody who doesn't like Fred shooting a lot of shots, just chill. Seriously. He's always been a high volume shooter for us the last couple years, and it is not going to change right now. You can not like it. You can think he's just chucking it. You can think, oh, he needs to pass more. But in some ways, he needs to shoot just as much as he passes. And I'm okay with what he's doing. Like I said, I have no problem with Fred's game last night. In some ways, sure. I wish he had not 4 turnovers. Sure. I wish he had shot better than 3 for 10 from 3. But in some ways, he was very solid and he did contribute numbers. And that's all that matters. It may not have been the most efficient, but they won and he did a good job. That's all I care about. Let's see. G saying, since the Jakob trade, the average starter's age is actually around 26. Young teams, but yet with experience with few of the young vets too. The young experience of Fred and Pascal getting a championship already in their young career is invaluable. And it'll matter more and more as they get closer to 30 years old and in their early 30s. Trust me, you're going to see it. And yeah, this is great. Jakob brought our age up a bit. We had a very young team. We've been one of the youngest teams in the last 2 years in the league. And we played at a higher level of aptitude as more like a vet team at times. So we're kind of a weird hybrid. We do have vet to us, but we are still very young. Shirkan saying OG is the original OG fun guy from way back with Ibaka's back and forth. He's smart enough to see what's going on in the league with players being moved from one place to another and still not happy. That is something that, I'm sure he pays attention to. Anyway, I got distracted for a second. Somebody's coughing in the other room. I'm actually going to have to get off here soon, guys. I'm going to finish up these comments and get out of here because I do have a guest at the house, and my voice is really shot right now. Let's see. Isaac saying basketball is very situational and matchup dependent. Fans who think individual players' offense should be consistent game by game don't understand the importance of Raptors team defense first. JYD, he's bringing up Jerome Williams. It's very much on certain nights. Fred will have the green light more because Pascal's getting shadowed and doubled more, and that it's more open for Fred. And sometimes that's why guys get more shots than other guys. They're taking the opportunities that are presented by the defense that they're playing, and that it's not always predetermined and won't be the same every night. And anybody who thinks that Scott should just get this every single night to be good and be the best second-year player in the NBA, you're crazy. It goes up and down. He can't have the same output every single night. What are they, robots? How boring would the game be if every single player scored exactly the same points every single night? You could predict everything. So, that's not what they want. They think they want that, but they don't really. And when they actually see it. Nameless is saying, Doug Ford is a wannabe Trump. Pass it on. Well, yeah. He's very definitely that kind of guy. He's definitely very much like him. They're very similar kind of person. There's a lot about them that is very the same. They will sell out everybody that they represent, and they're supposed to be the premier or the president for it just for their own money, just for their own pocketbook, lining their own fucking bank account at the detriment of every single one of us. Shirkan saying, Raptor Freak family, I believe Masai and company are low-key compiling a solid training camp for next year. Joeezy, Banton, Harper Jr., Dowtin, plus our first-round pick, maybe sign another undrafted talent. We got something. Yeah, I hope that these guys can make a leap this summer, maybe in summer league, maybe in training camp, the preseason. These guys make some sort of leap, and they're like, Nick Nurse needs to play me in the regular rotation because I am much better than I even was last year. Jeffrey Dowtin Jr., Ron Harper Jr., Delano Banton, Joeezy. These are 4 very good names for this year, Con. You actually got the right people for this. Koloko, that's another one too. As above, so below. Last time we won it all. Take 10 games, we lost by 5 points or less. Yak, maybe we get 4 off of those, puts us in 7th seed now. Yeah, we lost so many close games this year. We should have had a better record. We'd been up there with Cleveland, all kinds of different things that could have broken different ways that would have helped us. And we'd be in a much better position at this point so late in the season for sure. And hopefully this year coming up, we will make less mistakes, have more lucky breaks go towards us, have less injuries, and maybe get more good timing when we meet teams in the schedule instead of playing teams when they're absolutely coming up and we're in a bad place and we're just like getting beat and helping teams get good things going for them. Maybe we can have the reverse. Maybe we can meet teams when they're in a bad place and we get a good thing going off of them, off of their backs, instead of the opposite like it was this year. Man, I'm so about that. Solstice is here. You spitting facts. All right. I appreciate that. Solstice 99. Yes. Please subscribe and please continue to come back. We're always trying to, put some real stuff out there, at least saying stuff that maybe some people don't want to say on some of the content places. I asked Randy, can you talk about the refs? He said, I'm not sure. We might be able to get fined on Raptors tonight if we talk about the refs too much because we are technically employees of the Raptors organization. So I can do it because I'm not. And I'll spit all the facts and spread all the things about Ben Taylor and Scott Foster and those crooked ass refs here. And I won't worry about it. Tom Dukes is 100%. Yeah. Mike saying, I respect everyone's beliefs. If Reamer lives his life in a certain way based on beliefs, I don't agree with Reamer, of course. He devotes his life completely to something beyond himself. I understand it. Yeah, I get that. I get that. And, in some ways, listen, he's paying a price for it. Apparently, he will not be able to participate because he won't wear the jersey. And that's part of it. That's the whole repercussions of it in some ways. I mean, I get it. In some ways, I get it. But in some ways, this isn't the hill to stand on. A proper good Christian wouldn't use this as a tool to stand on like this. They would just do it out of love. That's the thing. Christianity is about love. True Christianity is about love and accepting everybody. And there's a lot of people out there that purport themselves as Christians that are not really truly Christians, if you go by the definition of what Jesus Christ believes and wants for his followers. There's a whole bunch of people out there spouting Jesus this, Jesus that. Well, you are not a follower of Jesus Christ because you do not love all and forgive all and want to be have a table for a place at the table for everybody. In fact, you want to have a security gate in a neighborhood away from those people because you don't want them near you. And that's what I'm saying. You want to be a Jesus follower, you better follow what Jesus believed, because a lot of y'all don't. You just say you do, but you really don't walk the walk. You may say it, you may, I love Jesus, all this. Well, Jesus would not love you for not loving other people. Well, maybe he would, because he does come around and say, yeah, I'll forgive you. And I love you even though you hate other people. That's because he's better than you. All right, let me keep going. As above, so below. I agree, Lex. If Reamer and the Stalls are promoting their beliefs, that is not why they're against this. Claiming is promoting very ignorant stuff. It's just a damn jersey. It really doesn't freaking matter when it comes down to it. They're just, in some ways, they're tools for some people that may want them to be like this. There may be all kinds of reasons. These Stahl brothers, they think they're so religious in their beliefs. Well, they go and commit crimes. They're actually little hooligans. It's not like they're very good people. They've done a lot of crazy shit and gotten in trouble for it, these Stahl brothers, over the years. So it's like, yeah, you guys are good little Christian boys, and that's why you're making this stand. Bullshit. You have police records, and that's what I'll say. MSJ saying, I was talking about the Chinese corn party, but of course the Ontario government is making a killing too. Corn party? Oh, Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, I thought I read that as the Canadian Conservative Party and not the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, so I misread that. But yeah, okay. I'm glad you clarified it. Seymour saying Raptors stole Detroit's catalytic converter and the Pistons broke down. All right, Seymour, you know what you just did. You got yourself a dunk. You got yourself a dunk for that one. I love it. We stole their catalytic converter and the Pistons broke down. Expressive, convincing win. Seymour Pape is getting a dunk for today for using the term catalytic converter. I love that. Solstice saying there's an in-depth Alvin Williams interview here. Awesome. Listen, if I could interview him on the show or get him on guest on this live stream someday, that'd be great. And we let's see if that could happen someday. Who knows? This channel could expand and maybe get the attention of certain people around the Raptors. And they may be like, you know what, the Raptor Freak, in some ways, what's happening on that channel is a really good positive fan community that we really need now more than ever, partly because of the toxicity and different things around Raptors Nation. And that was what I was trying to get across to Randy Urban the other night. Was like, this is what my whole goal is to build a community in the Raptors fan nation for fans that really love the team passionately and are sick of all the negative, toxic noise. Whether it's other YouTube content makers that are making like ugly like pieces about players, or whether it's like the fans that are not really fair weather fans, they're fair weather fans that'll turn on the team like on the drop of the hat. We want to show that there are real supportive fans that will go through the thick and thin, the losing and the winning with them, no matter what. And that's part of why we wanted to build this community here, is for people that really do care about the team and they don't like everybody like making fun of them or insulting them or coming down on them. We really want to make a positive community for cheering for the Raptors. And I think Randy got that idea from me, like when I tried to get it across to him that this is what I'm all about. And hopefully he will show up. We'll have to see. Let's see. So as above, so below. When Chuck Swirsky was here every February 14th, on Fan 590, he did a show, Where's the Love? Bring it back and get out the salami and cheese. You know, actually, as above, so below, when we go to the off season, every Saturday is the Saturday Share the Love Club. And we do this all during the summer. I pick an individual on the team, like we did Masai Ujiri, Share the Love Club, Nick Nurse, Share the Love Club, Fred Van Vleet, Share the Love Club. And that Saturday, it'll be like, because there's no games or anything, I have different content during the summer. And each day of the week has a different theme. And Saturday Share the Love Club will be in full effect this summer. In fact, I was thinking about it the other day. I did most of the players last summer. So this summer, we may be doing more media personalities and other people around the Raptors organization that we want to share the love for, like Jack Armstrong and Alvin Williams. So expect those Saturday Share the Love Clubs this summer. And there'll be specific days where we get on the stream and we talk about what we really like about that individual that we're sharing the love for. And it really is, I came up with this idea because of Scotty and Gary last year. At the end of the year, they talked about, we want people to share more love. Like Gary Trent Jr. said in an interview, I wish people would share more love in this world. And I got an idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make something called the Share the Love Club. And we'll bring that back. And then very much will be just like what you're describing with Chuck Swirsky on Valentine's Day with Where's the Love, what he would do. Well, we're doing that on this channel. We did it all last summer. We'll do it again this summer. And I hope you'll be there for some of them. It's really fun and very positive, and we love doing it. It's like, you know, Share the Love Club, Chris Boucher. We did that one right before he re-signed as a free agent last summer, talking about why we love him. We want him still here on our team. And I don't know, he probably never saw it, but it's there and in the catalog. And then someday maybe he'll be like the Share the Love Club, Chris Boucher. I want to come see that. And maybe he'll see what we said last year about him last summer. Tom Duke is saying it is a two-horse race for Raptors Most Improved 2023. Logical Raptors fanatic and Alvin Williams. Yeah, I can see that, Tom. That's pretty accurate. I like that. MSJ saying WWE came out on top with a collective IQ of one. Oh, wow. He has the stats. Holy crap. All right. I want to see this. WWE came out on top with a collective IQ of 112.6, followed by the NHL at 112.3, the NBA at 110.7, the NFL at 105.9, MLB at 101.3, and finally NASCAR at 95.2. You know, in some ways, I think that these seem very accurate. I know I was just saying that the NHL may be the dumbest, but you know what? These seem plausible. These seem like very plausible averages. Okay, I'm glad to see that the NBA is not last. Good stuff, MSJ. I don't know where you got those stats from, but they seem very plausible. Logical saying Tom Duke and Lex been putting in that Raptors way work and not stopping. Hey, yeah, we're trying, bro. We're gonna try and do what we can. Smooth saying good morning. I think Flynn would benefit getting a fresh start with somewhere else. As I said before, he will be used as part of a trade this summer. He's a shooting guard playing as a point. You know, in some ways, I think you're right. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. With Flynn, I always think every summer that he's going to be gone, and it hasn't happened. So I won't say that I think this will happen because I said it last year too, and it didn't. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I'm not. I think I agree with this. I think if he went to another team, he'd have way more success and probably more of an opportunity than he's had here in some ways. And Eric Flynn would probably agree with that. Shirkan saying any comment from Raptor Freak family out there is a win for our community. Really liked that comment last night about amazing Alvin. Love seeing Raptors superfan Monique, the greatest, in the comments as well. So much fun. You guys are badasses. Honestly, seriously, we're family. Y'all know each other from here. We go into that place. It was the same thing, and we look out for each other. Is somebody in there being out of pocket with the comments in the chat? Well, Tom Duke is on them. I'll bet you money Tom is on them. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all stand up for each other, stand up for the team, and share the love. Be positive Raptor fans and put it out there everywhere you go on social media and you see other Raptor fans interacting. You know, if somebody's being a little bit out of pocket and negative, you can set them straight, maybe help them see a new perspective and help them to see more positive things. You know, we can fight the good fight against the bad. We very much can. And allow them to know that the toxic in Raptors Nation is not the most powerful force in Raptors Nation. It's us. We will be the most powerful force in Raptors Nation. The real ones, the positive ones, the ones that come with love and not come with this, like, you know, what these other people are doing with their toxicness, stuff like that. Let's see. Monique saying every episode with Open Gym of Chris is always extra good. I agree. He's gotten more than his share, that's for sure. Chris has gotten quite a few episodes over the years with the Raptors on Open Gym, and I have no problem with that. I'm very excited. I know it's dropped already. It's probably already played. You guys may be already watching it. I will watch it soon as I get off here. Cool Cat saying next poaching activity will be Scotty. The U.S. media's push is going to be crazy and very annoying. We fans will have to push back and be tough when the time comes. Yes, I agree with Cool Cat, and this is true. They're gonna be coming for him too, and we're gonna have to be like really smart and hopefully, hopefully Scotty will just really love us and just stay here. I think in some ways, if we continue to win and they keep guys around him on the team that he really likes being around, he will. We pay him the right money. We're winning. He's a good situation. I don't think he'll want to leave. But hopefully, there's nobody in his ear telling him stupid ass shit like Uncle Dennis. As above, so below. Is that what they call synchronized swimming now? NASCAR? Okay, I'll remember that. All right, you're getting a dunk. You're getting a dunk for that one because I love that. I don't mind. You're dunking on an NASCAR. I love that in some ways. As above, so below. You have gotten your first Raptor Freak dunk, which is a list of people saying really witty comments that I think are funny. And Kareem Thomas is the leader with 6 dunks so far. So there you go. You got it on the dunk list today for that. That's pretty funny. I grew up in the South, so I can dump on NASCAR. Kareem saying, I wasn't sure, but was it Isaac Campbell getting that shout out on Raptors Tonight? It was Isaac Campbell. Kareem, how could it not be our Isaac Campbell? You think there's other Isaac Campbells out there that are, just as diehard as this Isaac Campbell? No. There's only one benevolent Isaac Campbell residing in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And that is this one. The one he's ours, our guy, Isaac Campbell. That's right. It was him. It's so awesome. All right. Isaac saying, nah, it was Tom Duke's buddy, Alvin Williams, that got the shout out. Isaac is so humble and so amazing. Seymour saying, now that's deep. All right. Seymour saying, salute Raptor Freaks and all Raptors Nation. Salute to you, Seymour Pape, always. Kareem saying, I got a backache, stomach ache, diarrhea, vomiting, cold feet, runny nose, headache, and insomnia. But Raptors won last night. That's all that matters. Oh, man, I hate to hear that you're not feeling well, too. For me, it's only my voice. I'm starting to really feel a sore throat, and maybe I'll lose my voice like 2 days after the game. That's really weird. Man, you got a lot of ailments right there. There's a commercial that always puts those as like you may feel backache, stomach ache, diarrhea, vomiting, cold feet, runny nose, headache, and insomnia as a side effect of taking this product. Maybe you need Pepto, bro. Like it sounds like Pepto might work. Like in their commercial, I think they say for your runny nose, diarrhea, all that. What is that? What is that commercial that says that? They list all the ailments that are pretty much what you're saying here. I think either Pepto or not NyQuil, something like that. They have a commercial that says this. Anyway, I want you to feel better, Kareem. I hate to hear that you're not feeling well, but you feel good because they won last night. I like that. Monique saying, W Lex, W Stream. Let's go Raptors. Always keep at it. Togetherness all times, and let's keep climbing. You go, Monique. That's right. A leader in our community, the super fan, Monique Lawrence, guiding the way, saying let's keep striving and achieving and going up. Not only as a team with the Raptors on the court, but as a fan nation. We can have the power to make it positive and be the leaders in our fan culture to make the toxic shamed and go away. Let's do that. Let's shame those toxic motherfuckers. Let's find out who did that to Chris. Let's find out. Shirkan saying W Stream again, as always. Let's get another home win and closer to 500. I have a feeling we're going to get a good spot for the play-in. Hope Scotty and Gary get well soon and join the team for the final stretch. Yes. Hopefully these guys can suit up and play as soon as tomorrow. If they don't play tomorrow, we can probably get away with it. But starting with these games that are coming up soon, we're going to probably need all hands on deck. Going up against Miami on Tuesday night is going to be a challenge. They're playing better recently. Jimmy Butler has woken up and started playing now. Kyle Lowry is actually playing again. He's healthy. So we need to do this. It's Kyle's birthday, by the way, guys. Kyle's birthday, 37. So yeah, we're going to see them on Tuesday. I'll be at the arena for that game with Adriana, and we're definitely be getting loud, and hopefully we will take that one for sure. But yeah, they hopefully can be back for Tuesday at least if they don't play tomorrow. Seymour saying, get better, Kareem. Speedy recovery. Yes, for sure. Tom Duke saying, take care, Kareem. Have an awesome day. Rapid Freak family. Yes. Fiercely saying, agreed at Cool Cat. Let's show them how much Scotty matters to us, and we're not letting go of him. Lock him up. That's right. That's right, Fiercely. I'm with you on that. Scotty Barnes, Twitch family, is out to protect him and keep him in the fold with us. Mike saying, Reamer walks the walk. I don't even think he's ever consumed alcohol like AC Green, Lakers legend, with his virginity. Yeah. Reamer dealt with a lot of negative fan energy, struggled with mental health. All right. I don't really know the guy, but still, it's just not a good look to me. It's just not a good look to me. But yeah, okay. I give him some credit for these kind of things, but still, in some ways, like I said, I'll stand by what I already said about James Reamer. As above, so below. Eric Smith and Paul Jones be cool. Yeah. They do a really good post-game show now, Smith and Jones. And yeah, those guys are both excellent. Eric Smith's been around the team since I started working at the Raptors in 1999. Eric Smith was on the Fan 590. He's always been like a second guy, a guy waiting for a spot to jump in, and he gets his spots and he jumps in. He does great. Whether he has to call a game out of the blue moon, all of a sudden he's doing the radio ones, but sometimes he gets on TV and once in a blue moon, studio stuff, all the kind of different things that Eric Smith gets to do more and more over time is great because he's been around the team as long as a lot of these guys that have been covering the Raptors. He's been around since the 90s too. Paul Jones is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I love Jonesy. And like, there's some things about Jones I realize more and more now that, he had some hard times in recent years, but he's battled through them. And I can tell with his energy and his spirit, he's a much happier guy at this point. And that in some ways he's accepted life on life's terms in a very profound way that he may not have wanted to. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm speculating. I'm reading as an empath that I could feel that there was an energy around Paul where he was struggling very badly, but he's overcome it. And in some ways, I have so much respect for somebody who deals with something. I have no idea what they're dealing with, but he's stronger now and more powerful because of it. And I give you so much kudos for that, Paul Jones. I have no idea what I'm talking about. You may know if you hear me, and you'd be like, all right, somebody recognizes this. But I see it. I see it in your energy, man. There's something about you that changed in the last 2 years, and you're a more powerful, better person for it. And I appreciate that about you, the growth. Mike is saying drive left, swim left. Okay. All right. Synchronized swimming has become a topic today. That's very strange. Seymour saying, if they were to hand out referees award, who would be your choice? Best referee this season? I love this question, Seymour. This is awesome. Well, you know what? I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go look at my ref report sheet to tell me this. This will help inform me because I definitely want to pick somebody who's been really good to us, right? It's interesting because I have their stats from the beginning of the year, and they're all in a certain spot in a hierarchy right now from the beginning of the year. But as the year has gone on, their percentages have gone up or down according to things. So in some ways, I could tell you who is our best game for this season, as far as somebody who we won a lot of games under this season and we hadn't before. Like I don't know. Let me just real quick. I'll say like one of my favorite referees that we have this year is JT Orr. I think JT Orr has been absolutely fantastic and very helpful to us and very much a good ref. Another really good ref that's understated, somebody that Nick Nurse was hard on is Evan Scott. The young Korean ref, Evan Scott, is actually a really good ref for us, and we had a really good year with him this year. So he's somebody that I am very happy to see. Another good ref for us is Andy Nagy, the young short ref. He's been a good ref for us this season. John Conley, another very good ref for us this season. Let me see. Let's go even deeper. Guys that have been bad for us and have been absolutely getting better for us. Where's a good one down low? Let me see. Well, a lot of the ones that are really bad are still really bad. But yeah, I would say JT Orr, maybe one of the best refs for us this season. Brandon Adair, always really good. We like him. Nate Green, another okay ref for us. Dedrick Taylor. These are all good refs for us. That list that I was just giving you. So hopefully that kind of answered your question. Evelyn's saying sending love and huge hugs to Kareem Thomas. Everybody wants Kareem to feel better, and I like that. Shirkan saying Lex, general IQ may not be the best gauge of social and emotional IQ. So a person can have a high IQ, but still can do poorly when it comes to social issues and empathy capacity. Life's complicated. You know what? You're exactly right, Shere Khan. And not only that, the IQ test is biased towards white men in some ways. That these IQ tests and these SATs, standardized tests, often are not fair to every single person from every walk of life. And in some ways, they don't totally indicate intelligence because some of the people may not do well on it because the test isn't catered towards what they would know. And in some ways, that is totally true. But it's different what Shirkan's saying. He's saying that even if they're smart, they have an high IQ. Doesn't mean that they have empathy. Doesn't mean that they're a good person. They can be very smart and very villainous and using their smarts to like exploit people and make as much money as possible. So yeah, I totally agree with Shirkan saying this is a very good disclaimer as far as with the IQ stats earlier. I can agree with this. Race Mode Daily's here. This is saying, let's go. And that's literally what Edmund's doing all the time. Usually race mode is very much real. He's on that race course with the cameras filming the race cars. And let's go, Edmund. Whatever you're doing right now, I'm sure it's fun. It's a Saturday. Edmund is having fun Saturdays, even if he's working. Trust me. He does cool stuff. Logical saying W stream. I just feel bad for the guy, and he's actually a really nice guy. But yeah, has some dumb beliefs. In my opinion, only of course. No offense to anyone. I love and respect everyone if they respect people. Well, this is what maybe they should have done. All right, I have no problem with him refusing to wear the jersey, but maybe they shouldn't have put it on blast. Maybe they should have just silently said, okay, you don't want to wear the jersey. We're not going to publicly put that out there. And James should have just shut up and not said anything to the press. Maybe the press wouldn't have detected this. Maybe they wouldn't have cared. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. In some ways, he's given a platform of bigotry by putting it on blast this way. The NHL would have done better if they just hush this. You say, you want to have the option not to wear the Pride jersey? Okay, but we're not going to put this on blast. You can't stand up to the press and say, I'm not wearing this jersey because of my beliefs. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, that's the problem. It's like, okay, he can have the freedom not to wear the jerseys for his beliefs, but he shouldn't have a platform also to espouse it further. That's kind of where I'm going with this. And that's the thing that bugs me about it. Monique saying Jonesy's daughter, Justine, does the Raptors PR for Raptors. Fun fact for you all. That's true. I heard about that recently. That's awesome. As above, so below. Hit that thumbs up before you leave. Stay classy, Toronto. I love it. As above, so below. Good to see your name in here once again today. All right, just to wrap up real quick. My 3 stars of the game for last night, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and Chris Boucher. Fantastic stuff. Chris Boucher is now the leader for the Raptors in franchise history for the most double-doubles off the bench. His 32nd double-double off the bench last night. He is the franchise leader in that category. Great routing win over Coach Casey's Pistons. We have swept them for the season, as it should be. They're always sweeps, whether we sweep them or they sweep them. It's almost like when we played the Pistons next season, in the first game when we play them, that may determine who's going to win all the games for the rest of the year because that is definitely the trend. with these two teams. Sad to see the 905 lose a 2-point game yesterday against Greensboro Swarm. They're going to be playing them today at 3:30 for their last game of the season. So check it out. The last game of the season for Raptors 905 on YouTube, on NBA TV also. You can watch it today at 3:30. Yeah, too bad they lost. But yeah, tonight, the referees for the 905 are Matt Callio of Edmonton, Agon Abazi, and Claudia Mula are the referees for the G League game today. Thank you for coming and joining me today. A lot of heavy topics. Seriously, when that Hustle Play podcast comes out with Alvin Williams and Chris Boucher, and you watch it and you hear what the fans said to Chris, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be disgusted. You're going to be angry. And just like I was. And so check it out. And also the open gem about Chris Boucher that comes out today. I appreciate every one of y'all. I love all y'all. I hope you feel better, Kareem. I hope everybody has a really good day. Be safe out there and just have a happy time. And tomorrow we'll have the preview for the Washington Wizards game and a reaction to the last 905 game. Thanks for joining me. And please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And one more thing, y'all. Let's go Raptors!